All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank y'all for being here tonight on the barbershop. Listen, we're going to do something a little different tonight, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to have some salon talk in here tonight too, man. So salon talk, we're going to have the ladies in here joining the guys tonight. And we're going to have a conversation tonight. As you guys are coming in, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the share button, share with grandmama and them. If you want to donate to the channel, as you can see scrolling across the bottom, will be the Cash App. And if you want to give a super chat, that's available as well. I hope all of you are doing well mentally and physically and spiritually. I hope wives are being wives, husbands are being husbands. And I hope everything that's nonsense is not in your life this week or tonight. But again, that was the housekeeping rules. I'm going to have a lot of people here tonight to have this great conversation. I think that we're living in a society today where people are depending more on happiness than structure, happiness than joy, which are two completely different things. Happiness over everything. And today I was reading, and as I was reading today, I had to do some research to find out what's the number one cause that women say is the number one cause of marriage to fail. And I'm reading it here, CNBC. If you want to go to cnbc.com and read this, it shows here in a survey of 2,371 divorces, nearly half blamed, listen to me, I'm not happy anymore. The lack of love from not being happy, making it the most common reason for ending a marriage, according to the 2020 study in the Journal of Sex and Marital Therapy. People just not happy anymore. My question tonight, and what will be for the panel, is why are we depending on a temporary emotion? Why are we depending on that to drive us? Why are we depending on happiness to drive us? Because as we know, everything's, you're not going to be happy every day. There's going to be, you took vows in your marriage and it said good times and bad times, and you think that you're going to be happy. Even in the vows, God said, you know what? I'm going to make it where I cover everything. And the Bible even says when you do your vows, it says through good times and bad times. Meaning, hear me now, that there's going to be some bad days. There's going to be some days where y'all don't like each other. You're not happy with each other. And that's why he says that when you make that commitment to be married, because that's what we're promoting here. When you make that commitment to be married, you're not making a commitment to leave when things get bad, but you're making a commitment to stay. Sometimes you're not going to be happy all the time, ladies. Since they say you right here in this, in what I just read, it says that out of almost 2,800 women who filed for divorce, they filed for divorce from their husbands because they weren't happy. We got to stop depending on happiness. When you wake up in the morning, every morning, you're not going to wake up happy. You're not going to always be happy with your spouse. You're not always going to be happy with your children. You're not always going to be happy with how much your energy bill is. You're not always going to be happy on property taxes increasing. There's different emotions and we all experience them. And I think that is the dumbest thing, as you can see tonight, the dumbest reason to divorce. I'm not happy anymore is the dumbest reason to divorce. Again, thank you guys for being here. Hit the like button, subscribe button as you come in. We're about to have a great conversation tonight. I'm so glad to have everybody here. I'm going to bring everybody up. But before I do, I like to let you guys get a little loose before we start. So I'm going to play a little something. I know my boy want to hear White Chocolate. I'm definitely going to give him White Chocolate tonight. And after White Chocolate, you guys will be able to, we'll go ahead and start the conversation. Everybody will be on the panel and I'll introduce them accordingly. All right, we'll be right back, guys, right after this.
I got a red room, it's the red hour when the sun sets in my bedroom. Oh, it feels like I'm inside a flower. It feels like I'm inside my eyelid. Feels like I'm inside a flower. Yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for being here. Also, shout out to my tech guy tonight in the back, Black David. Thank you so much, man, for taking care of everything in the back. All right, guys. So we're here. We're going to have the conversation, but I would want to introduce some really, really special people here tonight and new people that I see a new brother in the building tonight. I want to start out with Jasmine. How are you tonight? JT is in the building tonight. We got this. I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna do them last. Give me a minute. This power couple. I gotta wait to last to introduce the power couple over here. All right, the real Precious is in the building tonight. We got Scam Likely in the building tonight, man. It's good to see you. And last but not least, ladies and gentlemen, we have for the first time, Brother James is in the building with his beautiful wife, Lady Di. Come on, y'all got to give it up for him. Let's go. I appreciate you guys being here to have this conversation tonight. It's going to be a good one. So I want to, I always start out with everybody's mental health and family. I want to make sure everybody's good before we start. Maybe we have a prayer or something. If somebody in some bad moods or something today, I don't know. We figure it out. But Jasmine, I want to start with you first, sweetheart. How was your day? How's the family? How are you doing? How's life?
Everything is pretty good. Thanks for asking. Been a long day, but I'm here.
Absolutely has been a long day. All right, JT.
What's going on, man?
What's going on with your partner? Hey, before you say something, ladies and gentlemen, this is JT. This is my brother. I always have to do this. I do this every time because because we're celebrating marriage, right? And so JT is about to take that step, and I want to just say to him, man, that I'm proud of him. I'm proud of his lovely, beautiful fiance and future wife, Nidra. What's up, Sugarfoot? We're proud of you and JT. And this is the face of a man who is extremely happy. And she always try to make everybody on the panel jealous because I think she started cooking right about 30 minutes before the live start. Because right in the live, she just come bring him a plate, kiss him on the jaw. I'm like, nigga. But anyway, so I'm so happy for you, JT, man. So how are you, man? How's family? How's Nidra, brother?
Doing well, brother. She's doing well. It's Friday. We back here.
We back here, bro. You're
yes,
back
sir.
Here, man. All right, man. Thank you for being here. So let's see. Mandrell just came in. What's going on, my brother? Mandrell, how are you, man? How is life? How's everything going with you, brother?
Swell.
Swell. Swell.
Oh, I hate his response.
I love it. He do that every time. All right. So the real Precious is in the building tonight. Miss Precious, you weren't feeling good in the beginning of the week. I'm so glad that Wonder Woman has come back to us. How are you doing tonight? And how is everything going?
I'm good. I'm nice and refreshed. I had a nap. So
thank you, Jesus.
I had to set my alarm and everything.
Absolutely, man. Well, thank you for being here, and I'm glad that you feel better.
Thank you for inviting me.
Of course. Scam Likely, how are you, man? How's everything going with you out there in the great state of Florida?
Oh, everything's good. Progress.
All right, man. Appreciate that. And last but not least, James and Lady Di. What's going on?
I'm gonna let him talk. So he gonna.
Okay. Come on, brother James.
Oh, no, she be the one to be yapping all the time. No. So we doing good. We been a very productive week, trying to just get things established for our next move, next journey. So.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Without vision, we perish, brother.
Yes,
so
sir.
good job. Good job. So this conversation is gonna be a good one. I want to start out with what I started out the show with, when it says almost 2,400 divorces. Nearly half of the women who filed those divorces said that the lack of love, intimacy, and no longer being happy is the reason that they filed for divorce. And this was in 2020, a study done in 2020 with the Journal of Sex and Marital Therapy. So we'll start out with JT. JT, what are your thoughts on what I just read? You're muted, brother.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now, brother.
All right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's not. Well, I'm not going to raise an eyebrow to it because think about it. Most women in these divorces, that's what they were seeking for anyway. They were seeking to be happy. That's what it was. That was their goal, was to be happy.
Mm-hmm.
And we already know that. I mean, once you are in a relationship, you already that happiness is not the goal. The goal is to build family. The goal is to um, be able to raise your family so your children and their children will be able to flourish. There's nowhere in there where happiness is, the goal. Happiness should be, or joy, I like to call it joy because it's something different,
Mhm.
should be through the process of building, so it goes from courting to marriage, children, grandchildren, and great grands, and it's just the journey that goes from there. But when we start talking about this whole this journey of trying to get happiness, yeah, you're gonna fail every time. It's an illusion. That's it.
Absolutely, man. Appreciate that. The real precious. What are your thoughts?
I would say that a lot of women want their spouse to make them happy. And you have to know what happiness is for yourself and joy, like JT said. Um, excuse me. We talk about the Bible and things like that. A lot of people are also trying to find the right person. They're trying to find the person that, is perfect for them. But a lot of times we're not right even for that person. And we're not honest with ourselves about that. And so we don't, self-evaluate. We don't take the time. We're not patient. We have to be in a relationship, or we have to be in the presence of a man. And it's like sometimes you just got to take that time. You have to be patient. You can't, rush things, because you're not only rushing things with somebody else, you're rushing your life too. And if you're not honest with yourself, you're not real with yourself, then your whole life is, you're just going to be going through the motions. You're going to be miserable. A lot of people get into relationships and they don't even love themselves. They're looking for the other person to complete them in ways that they can do. They're just lazy. And so they're putting it off on somebody else and then going to blame them and leave them in the end when they don't do what they expect them to do. And it's like, no, I expected you to do that for yourself, not to wait till, you join with someone else. So I think it's a lot of people just aren't patient. They want to rush it. You talk about the Bible, like that's the playbook. That's the manual. So if you're not going to continue to do that, if you're not going to continue to read the manual, if you're not going to continue to go back to home base when things are rough, or if you don't even have that foundation, a lot of people don't start off on the same foundation there either. So it's a lot of things that go into, women leaving. They're not honest with themselves. They're not. They wanted to be people. They just got married because, again, they rush things. So,
Oh, thank you for that. I don't know who want to come up behind that. Mandrell, what are your thoughts, Mandrell?
A lot of women today don't want to build. They want a guy who's already built, and that's the wrong answer. Going after a guy that's why it's best to get married when you're younger, if you can. But even that's getting considerably more difficult with each passing day. So if you find someone who's up there in age, you know what I mean, and you guys come together, you're supposed to put your resources together and build something together. You may have yours, I may have mine, but when we put our resources together, let's build something new. People don't want to build. The first sign of trouble, they're out. And it goes, to piggyback off of some of what Precious says. I honestly think if you're Black in America, you should be in therapy. Period. At some point in time in your life, you should be in therapy about something. You know what I mean? So a lot of people haven't done therapy when they definitely need it. They even deny that. It's like she says, that people aren't honest with themselves. I think a lot of women, when they see it being difficult, no, this isn't right. This is supposed to be difficult. Love isn't supposed to be hard. Sometimes it is. Well, why did it take all of this to get you to realize that this is that serious? Because it did. But if you have someone, who's willing to do the work and build with you, you can't just throw it away. That's foolish. and then run around and ask God to send you somebody. Well, you know, he probably did, but you said no. You know, and so now later on in life, you get what you get because you had it. You know, it's that old story where this guy's on a river. God, please send somebody to help me. A guy in a raft comes up. Hey, man, you need a raft? No, God's going to save me. A cruise liner comes up. You need help? No, God's going to help me. All right. A military ship comes up. Need help? No, God's going to save me. And then he gets up and drowns, goes to heaven and says, God, why don't you help me? Well, I sent you 3 boats. What are you talking about? I didn't help you. People choose to drown themselves. You know, and it's incredible to me that so many people that you wouldn't think would do that, you wouldn't expect would do that. They self-sabotage and just do themselves in. And so now we have the situation that we have in our communities, you know, not just Black communities, but in America in general. You have to find someone who's willing to build with you. Otherwise, it's not going to work. Both of you have to be on the same page, and you both have to trust each other. It's scary, but you have to take each relationship on a case-by-case basis. You have to give that new person trust, uninhibited, unrestrained, and trust that person not to hurt you. And if they do hurt you, you got to give them a chance to fix that, straighten that out. These are things you need to build, but when it comes down to it, they're unwilling. And there's nothing that if you're the person on the other side, whether you're the man or the woman in a relationship, you're the person on the other side, there's nothing you can do about that.
Wow. And we're going to get into that because you and Precious then already knocked on the door where we're going after this question. So we're going to get into that. James and Lady Di, what are your thoughts?
So I understand, like, if someone is not happy, the first emotion is to dismiss everything. You want to kind of get rid of it, void it. Like, that's natural. I don't want to say that that's wrong. I want to say, let's just change our perspective on what marriage or happiness is supposed to be. Because the way how individually we think of it different is not the way how it's supposed to be. Because even if you're not happy, you're not going to want to leave your spouse. You're supposed to be there through thick and thin. And that's where the line is drawn. It's like no one understands that that concept. And I believe, you know, once we understand that, it'll be more loyalty. And just because you're unhappy now doesn't mean you're going to be unhappy a year from then. And you know, so on. So I think, you know, a lot of things are temporary. We're so quick to, oh, right now I'm feeling this way, and right now things are not good, and the next day it's going to get worse because, and you know, having all these reasons when we're like, just live for the moment, but you still have to be, you know, realistic. So that's my intake on it.
I was gonna say, I think most of the time people, it's like a check in a box in today. Like they just want to say, hey, I'm married. You know what I mean? Look at me. You know what I mean? Everything is good. All right, I did my little time. And it's kind of like they went to jail. Oh, I did my time and then I got out type of deal. Like no, like it's supposed to be like you and a lot of times people put too much pressure on the other gender or whatever they spouse or whatnot to make them happy when you're supposed to be doing that. Like I don't put stress on my wife to, you got to do this, 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 right? But every day I come home, she makes sure she has a smile on her face. She's not doing all that, you know what I mean, ratchet behavior and all that type of stuff. You know what I mean? So it's like it's a good environment. So if we put each other in a great environment, you know what I mean, you're gonna have a good relationship, just like JT. You know what I mean? Like you said, made a meal just before the show. Like that's like a great environment. Is he has his wife, he's protecting her, he's doing what he's supposed to do. And if we do more of that rather than watching all these love and hip hop shows, we'll be a lot better off as a people.
I want you to hold that thought, because when I come back and say James, I want you to bring that up, right? Because I think that we do live in a world where the influence of social media or the influence of reality shows and TV plays a vital role in relationships, bro. So keep that. I'm coming back to you, James. I'm old. I may forget. When I say James, I need you to bring that back to me. So all right. So let me get Scam Likely. Scam. So what are your thoughts on what I just said? Everybody been cooking, by the way. Y'all cooking tonight. Everybody has some great perspectives. Scam Likely.
I'm not happy anymore. The dumbest reason for divorce. Nobody asked why. Why is she not happy? And what do you expect? Now, if temporary is different. I'm not talking about unhappy for 2 days and then they walk out. That's just, what the hell did you marry? But if the woman ain't happy, why is she not happy? Nobody asked why. And what are your expectations from a person who does not want to be there until they die? And they only got one opportunity to live. Especially if you didn't even ask why or go to figure out and try to do your best to fix why. If women need emotional stability, need guidance, direction, attraction, and communication, and they're unhappy, you should probably know when she's unhappy and you should probably know why. So it's not the dumbest reason. And if all these women, 2,000, they interviewed and they said it's the number one reason, it's probably very important. So it's not a dumb reason to divorce, probably the number one reason. When something ranks number one, it's very important. So why is it being dismissed? Well, the happiness ain't important. It's about duty. It's about it. They said they don't want to do it, or they hate it, or they hate you, or they hate their absolute life, and they want to walk out the front door and not come back. You should probably find out why. And if you're a critical thinker and problem solver, you should probably do what you can, at least your best ability, to try to fix the situation. Otherwise, yeah, she should walk out that door and never come back.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. I want to push back on that. Let me tell you.
I will too.
Yeah, I want to push back on that because this is for the people who believe from a biblical standpoint. The Bible simply states that I will never promise you happiness, but I will promise you moments of joy. Right? And so even biblically, happiness is not one of those things that you want to hold on to. But I do have a list of things here out of those 2,000 people. I pulled the article back up. I'm reading it here. The top 3 reasons of why these women say they're not happy. Husband works too many hours. We could stop right there. Do you want him to work and take care of the home, or it's making you unhappy that he's working so many hours? You want him to quit his job? What do you want him to do? Because I remember a time in the 90s where women were saying, I don't want no scrub. A scrub is somebody that can't get no love from me. Bills, bills, bills. Can you pay my bills? So if the number one reason is they say the men are working too much, do I have to sit down with my wife and say, baby, what do you need me to do? Cut my hours down to 15 hours a week?
Yes.
Okay, then you have to cut back on some lifestyle. Here's the thing.
But if you're not even willing to have the conversation, she said, you working too much, and it's so bad that she's willing to walk out and never come back. And you didn't even listen to hear what she said, and how she feels. Yeah. There may be another solution. Sit down on a damn couch, get a pencil and paper, crunch some numbers, and see if you can work it out. If you dismiss it, you just didn't even listen to a number one reason that she told you that she will divorce you.
Okay, now let me go to
Can I say something right quick?
Hold on, JT, real quick. We got James and Lady Di here. This is a married couple. Watch this. Ooh, I'm so glad y'all here. So, Lady Di, James, if Lady Di came to you and said, "I'm not happy," and you ask her why, and she says, "Well, baby, have a seat," and you sit down, and she look in your eyes, she said, "Baby, you work too much. You working too many hours." What do you say, husband, to your wife?
I said, hey, these bills ain't gonna pay themselves. So and another thing, so we have to a lot of times as men, right, we want to value everything our woman says, like what I do in my relationship. But a lot of times some of the things that they tell us is coming from an emotional stance, not a logical stance. So they didn't put everything together before they told you that idea. So you got to take in that information and say, okay, all right, I understand what you're saying, but logically it's not going to work out because this, and this, and that, right? And all the hours and you know what I mean, I can just drop my hours and all that type of stuff, right? But how are we going to pay these bills? How this thing's going to do? And I know people that happen to. They say, hey, I'm working too much. You're working too much. You're doing this, right? And they listen to their wife, and their wife left them because they weren't making enough money. So you have to understand that you have those situations that you just can't make some people happy.
And also, I would say like there was a time where I said something about how I didn't want to do something when it was regarding work. And, you know, it was emotional. It was an emotional place. So I was only thinking about emotional things and why and my feelings. But then he was like, but did you think about what you said? You know, he's trying to put logic to me. So I'm like, yeah, I did. I don't want to do it no more, you know. And then he's giving me more understanding on, well, this is why you're doing it. You want to let go of those things of why you're doing it. And I'm like, no, I don't. But, you know, I had a but. So it's kind of like that but doesn't matter because there's a reason why you're doing what you're doing. So kind of follow through and push, because at the end of it, you're going to regret that you stopped when you can just go forward and then you'll have the accomplishments that you want to achieve. So it's like a voice of reason. So it's not that he could just be like, okay, you don't want to do it anymore, all right, let it go. But what kind of leader would that be? Because leaders have hard tasks all the time. And if that's the case, then a lot of leaders will be broke as hell if they're gonna give up. So it's just a voice of reason. And I feel like, you know, most men I feel should definitely do more of kind of putting that type of logic in place. I don't see nothing wrong with that. Now, if it's something that is going to be hurtful to the house, then sure, no. They'll be like, all right, you right. Then he'll say, yeah, that does make sense. Cool. We'll let it. We'll, you know. But I think, yeah, that's my intake on it.
Yeah, just real quick.
Had the conversation. You sat down and had the conversation, correct? And evaluated all angles before making a decision, correct?
Exactly. Yeah.
That's all I was saying.
Right. That's the thing is just so.
And then, of course, he makes the decision. It could be yes or no. But having that conversation and understanding why. That's all I was referring to. Not the full outcome.
And the thing is, I agree with you, Dusto. Like, but for me, when I'm speaking, it's implied that you had that conversation. You know, because for me, that's the obvious part. Right. You can't just, hey, you're working too many hours. I don't see enough of you. I miss you. You know, get over it. It'll be all right. I got to pay these bills. No, that is the wrong answer all day long. Right. That is the wrong answer all day long. You have to talk to her about it. And like you said, hammers, but that's building. That's what I'm talking. That's a part of building. You sit down, you two put your heads together and come up with a workaround or an alternative and weigh the options. If I work less, we can afford, we're not going to be able to afford as much as we could, you know, and see if we can come to a compromise.
All right. So
but that's not the crux of the conversation. The woman who brings up that conversation about you working too much, she's not bringing it up because she wants to lower or downgrade her lifestyle. That's not the reason why she's having that conversation with you. She's having that conversation with you because it could be for selfish reasons. She could be alone. She could be feeling lonely. It's not because she wants to downgrade. You can have that conversation until you blue in the face. But if she's enjoying living the lifestyle that's being provided for her, there are sacrifices that come along with that. And she has to.
You know, if you don't have the conversation.
But the point I'm making is that the reasoning behind having that conversation.
How do you have the answer without the conversation? How do you got the answer already, and you didn't even have a conversation?
Well, I will say this. Hold on, guys. I will say this. I don't think there's a man. There may be some, but I think the majority of men, if a woman say to a man, hey, listen, you working too much. If it were me, baby, you working too much. Okay, let's have a conversation. I don't think there's a man on this panel that wouldn't actually sit down and have that conversation with their woman in a way that they can try to understand better. Because what a man is going to do is like alluding to what James just said. What a man is going to do, women think right now, men think tomorrow. And so what he's going to do, he's going to say, hey, baby, listen, I know this is what you're saying today, but we have children that want to go that may need to go to college. We have children that have needs. You have needs. I need to be willing to provide for all of you. And in order to do that, I'm making a sacrifice to work all these hours. Now, baby, I'm with you. I don't want to work all these hours either. I'd rather be here shaking sheets with you. But I'm not able to be shaking sheets with you this evening because I got to work these extra hours to make sure that you have everything you need, that you're able to keep your car, able to pay the car insurance and the mortgage and the house insurance. I need to be working. And then your wife will be able to see, hey, okay, I can see where he's coming from. Right. And then, so baby, let's make a plan here. So the days that I'm off, they'll be all about you.
But Black Man, this has been what you just called out has been a problem that women have said for men for a very long time.
Mhm.
Remember, there was a song when he said, she's always talking about the things her girlfriends got and what she ain't got, and she want me to go out and get them for her.
Yeah.
You must be
Girl, I
from the
can't be
South.
in two places at but one time. If you think you're lonely now, wait until tonight, girl.
Right. Come on.
Even when he said she's always complaining about me never being at home, but when I'm there, I'm broke. You know what I'm saying? It's like she wanted all these things her girlfriends were having, but she also wanted him to be at home. And he's like, wait, I'm not making no money. When I'm with you, I'm broke. Do
Hey,
you know
JT.
how common that problem is in marriages? And normally it's with younger couples. Normally it's with younger couples because they're not at a point where they've seen consequences in their marriages yet. When I'm here and we ain't making enough money as it is, but you want me and you want to leave me because I'm not spending enough time with you? Leave? That means that you're a liar. We went to the altar and guess what we both promised to each other? For better or worse, through sickness and in health, together do us part. For richer, all these different things. These are actual vows. But when you have this amount of people that's getting divorces and stuff, and their number one thing is, I'm not happy. And the reason why I'm not happy is because he works too much. Two number ones within inside each other. That's crazy.
How do we get to the narrative because of work too much of all this other stuff?
It depends on the maturity of the couple first and foremost. It all depends.
No, I'm just saying, when I hear works too much, what I hear is military, gone too much, overworking, kids doing backflips on the couch, and the person just ain't there, and they're chasing this imaginary bag, and something ain't working at home.
Now, these are regular 40-hour men, and their wives say, you know, I'm here with these women. I'm telling you, I've heard women. I've heard it myself in real life. I've heard women tell. I heard my sister-in-law tell my brother this. I'm the one here with the kids all day, and you at work. You need to be here more with these kids. And my brother say, baby, what you want me to do? He said, do you want to switch places? Do you want to go work and I stay here with the kids?
Or you get a chance to get a break? You get a chance to get a break.
There was a man in Mississippi.
No, that had nothing to do with the kids. She just probably didn't like.
I couldn't hear you, Trey. We can't hear you, Trey.
There was a woman in Mississippi who just deleted a man because she's frustrated about him not being there with the kids.
Oh God!
And helping her with the domesticated duties of the house.
Well, yeah, that did happen.
Bottom line, here's the thing, ladies. It's just a few seconds.
I got to get everybody else in. I got you.
Bottom line, ladies, if you bring an issue up to your guy, you have to give him an honest chance to fix the issue. You have to give him, because if you can't come to him every day or every week and keep reiterating that, hey, this is an issue. If you see the guy doing the work and doing what it takes to fix the problem, okay, ride with him and build with him, stand by him. You know, you can't see him doing the work and making things better and then still leave. Then, I mean, you didn't love him. Yeah, you didn't love it. You didn't love him to begin with. Then, If this guy's doing the work and making things better and you bail anyway, you have to ask yourself, did you really love him?
Nah.
And that Miss Jasmine,
Jody was on your line. That's what that was.
Yeah, somebody else step in there, right? Yeah.
Jody's got your girl in gone. Hey, Jasmine, what's your thoughts?
Oh, that happens all the time now.
It happens all the time.
Yeah.
You've never liked him.
For a second, I thought y'all forgot about me, so I started taking notes so I won't forget what I had to say.
My apologies.
No, y'all good. So the question was, I had just put it up in the chat. Hold on. Why do we depend on that temporary emotion of happiness to drive us? And I would say because happiness makes us feel good. And we all want something that makes us feel good. You get what I'm saying? it's just something about that thrill that makes us feel good. A lot of y'all made some really good points. Y'all was talking about perfection. I'm gonna just go down some little words that I wrote. The real precious, she brought up the word perfection, love, complete, and lazy. When I think about the word perfection, it makes me think of the absence of love. When you have somebody, like we're gonna say, for instance, a woman who may have some scars or dark marks on her skin, and what she does is she piles all this makeup in to cover up her imperfection because she's not really celebrating the beauty. And a lot of times in relationships, that's what women tend to do. We want this man to make us feel good all the time, validate us all the time, love us all the time. When I really think love starts within, happiness starts within. That's why I really want to ask Scam Likely, when you said why, ask the question, why is she not happy? Because to me, I'm under the assumption that happiness starts within. Anything that I'm seeking outward, it should be within myself before I start dealing with another man. Like, okay, well, it's your job to make me happy. You're responsible for making me happy. If I'm not happy, healed, and whole, I had no business being in a relationship in the first place. So I know a lot of times people, they get in these relationships, the marriages especially, and the marriages, even though I'm not married, from the outside looking in, I see a lot of people, they just really want the wedding. They don't want the marriage. They want to celebrate the wedding. I got a family member, the marriage was over before the wedding even began. Before they even started doing this, he didn't even want to marry her. He was pressured. You have a lot of men pressured into marrying these women. Ain't no way in hell you finna be laying down in the bed with me and roll over and say, hun, you didn't even ask if I could be your wife. So you see a lot of people being forced into these marriages, and now they picking up on this extra responsibility, trying to make this woman happy. That's not even happy by herself. That's because a lot of times women do not like to be by themselves. Not even just women, men don't like to be by themselves either. So the more you feel comfortable with being by yourself and working on yourself, being whole within yourself, putting in that work for yourself, it'll be easier for you to work through everything when it comes to your marriage. That's why marriage is not lasting. And then y'all said something about lonely, about the man working a whole bunch of hours. If a woman gonna be complaining, I can't speak for other women, but I know for me, I need an extremely busy man that's working a lot all the time. All the time, I'm gonna be working too. But if she gonna be complaining about this man working all these hours, then her ass need a job. Lighten up the load. If you're gonna complain about it, lighten up the load. That's the least you can do. Ain't no point in complaining about it. I feel like a lot of times when people complain about it, they just want to be heard. They want the attention. And I know most men really don't like people that complain. Instead, you guys try to offer solutions. So the solutions to her complaining about it is get a damn job. Make it easier for me financially.
That was a
That's
question.
all I
Let's Scam respond to that, and then we'll go ahead to Real Precious.
Okay. All right. There's groups of people and groups of people in relationships. Most people you see don't even like each other. They don't like themselves and they don't like each other, and they get in a relationship. And it don't matter what you do or how many hours you work. They're done. They might as well both walk out the front door and never come back. There's relationships where a person is standing right here and they marry a woman and they're supposed to be growing. And they promised all these things. Hey, I'm going to be better. And then they stay the same. They ain't listening to their spouse. They just work the 41 hours, eat 2 sandwiches, and sit on the couch. Yes, she's going to be some complaints. It's going to be a problem. He's not growing. I'm only talking to those that I'm more talking to relationships that I believe could be fixed if people properly communicated. And what I'm kind of hearing and seeing is a problem. The man already thinks he knows everything and it's already solved. Then she says, I'm not happy. Oh, see, that's the problem. Let me get this Bible on scripture. You didn't even hear why she wasn't happy, and you didn't go and fully find out what is best for me and the family. If you're overweight and your heart is, you got one lung left working 90 hours a week, you might need to sit down. Your wife might need to work some more hours.
But that's the extreme. We're talking
No,
about.
I'm just doing it to show a point. But if the conversation was never had, how would you know?
Right, but
when the
like,
conversation is had, you have to listen.
But Scam, let me say this real quick. There are women.
What I'm saying is, y'all are putting a narrative of the lights getting cut off, and the man, what a woman think like. The conversation had, when the conversation had, and it goes deeper. You're not home, and the kids out of control. First, I'll give you an example. When we were kids, my dad was in the Navy. He made E6 just like that. He's about to go for E7. Then it's time away, more time away, out to see all this stuff. It was a conversation. You can get to E7, you can retire, but the kids gonna be teenagers and you ain't gonna be here. So you can go chase the bag, or you can actually be home. And thank God he listened and he came home. Because I might be on the dust panel right now. But all I'm saying is there's more to it. Had a conversation, make the best decision, and not always assume it's just a happiness and these, you know how these women are type of thing. That's all I'm saying.
So let me say this.
Can I say one last thing? Can I say one last thing?
Yeah, real quick. I'm gonna say this real quick. Now I'm gonna let you cook. There's women in the chat and there's women on the panel right now that they're on the same page. They said that if a woman is complaining about a man working too much, they're alluding to what our young lady up here said, that they need to get a job or they need to respect the fact that a man is doing what he needs to do to take care of his family. And these are, I'm just saying it from a woman's perspective. They're talking, saying they shouldn't be complaining. But we'll get back to that in a second. I'm gonna let her go ahead and say what you have to say, then we'll get to the real questions.
Well, I was finna agree with the James and Lady Di. I believe that was them that said it. Really, happiness is a temporary state. So if you know that's something, you know that's something that internal, why are you looking outward for something to make you feel good temporarily?
Huh? It's like,
basically.
Go ahead, Real Precious. Go ahead.
We're talking about long-term happiness, not temporary.
Go ahead, Real Precious.
Like
women get into men, and usually they say men and women get into relationship. Men are looking for the women not to change, but the woman is looking for the man to be the best and, you know, morph into this great person and things like that. And so when you're first, you know, feeling those feelings, you know, those happiness feelings, you're planning a wedding, you're getting everybody together, and that's stressful in itself. Like, I don't want no huge wedding like that. Like, that's stressful in itself, but you would rather go through the stress of your mama and your auntie telling you what to do on your wedding day than go through the stress of actually having conversations with your husband or with your wife. I think that women who appreciate a man working, it's not about him working a lot, because at the end of the day, when you married him, you knew that he was working. You knew that he could pay for the overhead. You knew that he was working a lot, and that's part of what attracted you to him. And so I think that women do get into this it's like a childlike phase where it's just like, oh, well, it's not going my way and I need you to fix it, and it needs to go this way now, instead of continuing to be appreciative for what he's doing. But yeah, the conversation does need to happen. But at the end of the day, if it doesn't go your way, are you going to leave? Or are you going to trust that he has it under control? I think that, you know, for it to work, the two do have to be, you know, in some type of compromise with each other. But at the end of the day, if you're allowing someone to lead you and you are putting a stamp of approval saying, yes, I do, then you can say I don't on certain things that were already in place. You know, there's always compromise here and there, but at the end of the day, you can't come in changing things when you already agreed for it to be what it is.
Yeah, one quick thing. I wanted to say certain scenarios, conversations need to happen. Like, I guess what Dusta was saying, I think maybe your father was just like what happened?
No, I'm saying thank you.
Needed to, he probably was like a workaholic. So he was like addicted to just, you know, go out there and push. That's what he's used to. I get that. And okay, we gotta calm him down, you know, family. You forgot about the family, you think about work. So sometimes there are people that need a little reality check, right? But then there are some situations where the ladies are saying, hey, you're working too much. But then at the same time, I don't believe that should be a conversation, because you already knew what you got into, right? You already knew that, let's say the guy's in the military. You already knew that he was going to be going out to sea. I'm just using military or whatever. But you already knew these things were going to happen. So there's really nothing he could do about it. You can't change. That means that you need to talk to his manager, his boss, and say, hey, I want him to work less. They're going to look at you like you're crazy. So you should already know this is not going to happen. That's not reality. So you should like, okay, he's working too much. Damn. Okay, well, what can I do? Because if you complain about things that can't be changed, I'm not saying you cannot ask for different schedules, but at the same time, sometimes you can't ask for schedules. You might make this guy lose his job. Then you're really gonna be crying. So you got to be careful what you asking for, because if you make the wrong move, they could remove you for real. So I say just be grateful if you are a stay-at-home parent, stay-at-home mother, stay-at-home wife. Be grateful that you staying at home, because his ass don't want to work. I promise you he don't. He just doing it because that's his job to, you know, take care of the family. If not, y'all should switch roles if that's the case. So that's what I want to say.
And a real conversation, honestly, that they need to be had is if that woman is at home, she should be looking up different businesses or looking up different things. Because she want her man to advance, right? She can come to him with ideas. She has I understand she got the child and cooking and cleaning, right? But she has some downtime instead of watching Love and Hip Hop or all these other little shows, Netflix and chill.
All the Queen's men.
Yeah, you know,
Yeah.
they can be looking up stuff about credit, they can be looking at stuff about real estate, and then now they can bring that to the table. Hey, babe, I got this idea. We can take this money and invest it here. And most men will be like, oh, okay, all right, cool. Let me look more into that. And then we have a plan.
And then he could quit. How about that? Just give it a better plan, get a business or something.
Balance.
He can't quit.
Balance.
He can't quit because then she'll be upset he's home too much. Then she want to kick him out. She want to. Why are you always home now?
Now she ain't happy again.
Now she ain't happy. You can't make her happy. You cannot make her happy. At the end of the day, let's call this what this is.
No.
There's a level of selfishness that is involved with this.
Yeah.
And a woman who's saying that you're working too much, it's not a good faith conversation. It's not coming from a place of, I am willing to give up my bins to have you come home. I am willing to give up our vacations to have you stay with, you know what I mean? Like, it's not coming from a good place. It's coming from a place of selfishness. And that's my issue with this. It's one thing for, you know, my future wife to say, look, babe, you work a lot. I don't want you working that much. I'd rather you stay home. If we have to downgrade our lifestyle, I'm perfectly okay with that. That's a completely different conversation that we're having. But if you're telling me
that's what I was referring to.
You altered something, and even in the midst of you altered something, she was selfish and she still wasn't happy. Happiness starts within. We got to stop expecting for other people to feel us that way and make ourselves happy.
I always say that women.
I was talking about balance. I was talking about adding balance. If it's imbalanced and she's telling you it's imbalanced, yes, you got to bring something to make it balanced. But if it's already an assumption that something's wrong and you got to work yourself into a grave and it's all just tunnel vision, you're really not listening. Let's be real. You're not listening.
So I will say this: the real precious, get ready. Load your gun. I'm gonna let you shoot in just a second. This is what I want to bring to the table, because, like I said again, as believers, we have to abide by a foundation of something. And this is what, and so this is what it says. It says here, Proverbs 31:11. It says, a wife of noble character, who can find her? The Bible's already telling you that this woman's going to be rare. He said, who can find her? Who can find her? Does that mean she's already going to be rare? You're not going to be able to, this is going to be hard to find this type of woman. He's letting you know right there in 10. 11, he said, her husband has full confidence in her and lacks nothing of value. She brings him good, not harm. Let me go down to, she's like, this is the very important part. If she said you're working too much, this is alluding to what James and Lady Di was saying. It says, she is like a merchant ship bringing her food from afar. She gets up while it's dark. She provides food for her family. She considers a field and buys it out of her earnings, right? And so this is saying, I don't know where in translation that we thought biblically that it's that this notion that women are to stay at home while men go work. Because if you can find that in the Bible and show me, make me a believer. But every scripture that I've read, that women were always adding to their husbands. And there's no reason to complain about the hours, because you're adding something to the husband as well. And so again, I don't want to use him as an example. No, I'm not going to use Will Smith. I can't. I'm sorry. But
you can actually use the 9 to 5 men.
Because 9 to 5 men, right? If they want to go out, a good man wants to see his wife happy. I'm sorry. A good man wants to see his wife taken care of. Take happiness out. He wants to see his kids want for nothing. And if he's going to go out and work, you have to appreciate the fact that this man is willing to do that. And like my brother asked his wife, how many women do you know who are single moms, struggling every day to make ends meet for their children? She said, I know a few. He said, right, you're not one of them. I'm not that guy. I'm taking care of my children, my responsibilities. I'm taking care of the house. I'm making sure that you're good, and I have to go to work, and I have to do this. This is something that I have to do. And so now,
there's the thing is, as a husband, I'm gonna want to see my wife happy. Like that's like as a husband, that's one of my goals to make her happy. But, I mean, in any way that I can.
Even if
now
you
the rest
serve
of
the
it,
woman happiness on
I'm
a
just
golden
saying balance,
platter.
man.
Yeah, I'm gonna
She still wouldn't be
balance.
happy if she didn't have it. I
Right.
think what I was gonna say is kind of what you read, Black Men Unfiltered. I always say that, women's greatest joy, or our purpose here, is to give birth. And there are women who can't give birth naturally. There are women who adopt. I was adopted. If you're not giving birth to a child, there should be something that you're giving birth to. You have to be resourceful. So if you're not giving birth to a child, you have your own focus. You have something that makes you happy. You're giving back, and that fulfills you. And it's something that your husband actually can't do. You can't look to him to do it. He can help you, do it. He can be there to help you, support you, because that's, what makes you happy. But, like my mom, I know after a while, she was a stay-at-home mom. She got hurt, and she loves arts and crafts, and like she can put a hall together. That's just not my ministry. I'm more reading and writing, right? But that was her thing. And it was like my dad still protected her from trying to do it for everybody, because it's what she loved to do. And so she would do it for free if you asked her. She wouldn't even, charge any money for it. But that's what made her happy. And he still protected her and said, okay, you can't be doing everything for all the folks in the church. Like, you gotta, reserve some of that time for home. You gotta reserve the time for the children. You can't overwork yourself. But she still had something. She had her workspace. She had, the garage full of her everything whenever she needed to do an event. It was all there. And it was, he didn't mind that, because it made her happy. And he knew that when he's at work and he's doing what he needs to do. I remember my dad going back to school. She had something. So, women have to get out of the me mode. Who are you going to serve?
Wow.
Can I spread a little bit?
Hold on, JT. Give me 1 minute, JT, because they've been waiting patiently. I got Mr. Bennett in the building tonight, who just celebrated his 27th wedding anniversary, right? 28?
26, but again, this is season 27.
Okay. All right. Give it up, guys. Come on.
After Paul, hoping this is a good year. 27. My birthday is the 27th. I'm rocking the Yankees gear. We got 27 championships, and the greatest team of all time was Murderers Row, 1927 Yankees. So we're gearing up for this season coming up. So
absolutely.
I'll be back. I gotta go play that number right quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yep, yeah, play that number.
We got Dr. Nakumbe in the building tonight. He came in first. So what's going on, Dr. Nakumbe? And you can go first, and then we'll get Mr. Bennett in here.
Excellent. Hello, everyone. Good to see you, and thanks for everyone who's listening in tonight.
It sounds like, whoa, doctor. It sounds like you hiding from the police. You hiding from the police?
No, I got these
go ahead, brother.
Earphones
on
the
toilet.
Yeah. All right. No.
Call somebody?
No, there we go.
There you go.
I just want to talk. I like what everyone said. I just want to offer some behind what everyone said. So the couples that see me, usually the women say, "Hey, fix him. I got to get out. I'm not happy." Or the men say, "Tell her I'm right," or "I got to get out." But there's some behind the scene things, like expectations are not met, because when they went into the relationship or when they went into the marriage, there was a belief, there was an expectation on what they were going to receive. And one of the two failed in those expectations. One or two of the people have a level of inadequacy that was never talked about. It's really a form of mental illness, but inadequacy is never enough. So you can pour into your partner, give to your husband or to your wife, but if they don't feel adequate, and that goes a little bit into what Jasmine was talking about, you have to be able to be whole or have happiness for yourself. Because if your partner's pouring into you, but it's never ever enough, you will feel, or it'll lead to you feeling unhappy. Social media messages and certain political agendas that announce permission givers that it's okay to leave, run. It's okay to leave. Even groups of people supporting each other. You should get out. You should get out. First thing is you should get out. You should get out. Get married on Monday. Have agreement. You should get out by Friday. Differences of understanding of the word happiness. So respect, love, and happiness. If you ask 5 people the definition of those words, I bet you get at least 3 to 4 different answers. So some people go into the relationship with their definition, their partner's definition is here, and they've been missing each other the entire time. And then the last one, men usually want to cure their women, meaning they get into the relationship, have this prize or have this trophy, lock him in the cabinet, and then default on some of their duties. And when the woman is announcing, hey, I'm unhappy, what do you mean? You have a home, roof over your head, food, I'm taking care of you. What more do you want or need? So those are kind of behind the scenes on what people were talking about.
I got a question to ask the doc. Doc,
Yes.
have you had those couples that, and this is what I did want to bring up on the flip side, where the husband chose his work to hide from his wife?
Oh
Yes,
my God.
I have those. Now I have the ones who get in a relationship and then they go for a period of time, but they can't handle the responsibility. So they sit in their car in the driveway for a long time. They don't want to come home to the kids, so they sit at the restaurant for extra hours and come home just in time when the kids went to bed. And or the wife they felt was too much. Like they're asking too much of me. They drain me. I've been at work all day dealing with whatever job, and then I have to go home. And instead of being relaxation or comfort, it's another chore to deal with her when I get home.
All right. So let's get Mr. Bennett in here. Mr. Bennett, what are your thoughts, man?
Well, again, everybody has made salient points tonight, and how was it? I got to follow the doctor. I can't say much more to what he had, but it's interesting that oftentimes you hear people say, I married the girl of my dreams, or I married the woman of my dreams, and that's where the problem is, because we tend to marry our, as the doctor was saying, we marry our expectation, or we marry our dream of what that dream life will look like. And then reality sets in terms of what that life is going to be like, and we're not necessarily prepared for that. And so I think a lot of it starts with, again, the expectations that you go into marriage with. What are you looking to build for the long term? I think those are important questions that everybody has to really take seriously. And those are the questions in the courting process. I think it needs to take place. I think, see a lot of people just wasting too much time, just having a good time doing the courting. But a lot of these questions need to be asked up front in the selection process. I mean, what are you really, looking to do? What are your expectations of marriage? I mean, put those out on the floor and be honest. You as a man, I was very honest with the women that I had dated or attempted to date before I met my wife. And those dates didn't go very long, because I didn't want to waste a lot of time with someone who wasn't really serious about what I was looking to do, things I was serious about. So I think that, the unrealistic expectations, or as the doctor said, when expectations aren't met, I think that's where you find things happening. As far as the immediate issue, as far as you're working too much, again, as Scan was saying, I think he made a good point, to asking the why, drilling deeper, because I don't think a lot of it necessarily has to do with the time, but I think it's what you do with the time. You can waste a lot of time not doing anything, but I think a lot of people are looking for intimacy. They're looking for, connection. And, do you need 5-6 hours to do that? Or is 1 hour, but an intimate connection, that can do the job also. But again, we have to ask why, and we have to, do that. If marriage is work, and which I really don't believe in, that marriage is work, but if it is going to be work, I think that's the work that you put in, really trying to understand each other, what each person needs, and you do your best. But as was said, if the person has that sense of lack, nothing that you'll do will satisfy them. And you get one promotion, that promotion is not enough. I've known people who've left their women who've left their husbands because they didn't think they were ambitious enough. They didn't get as high as they wanted to, even though they had very good jobs or certainly succeeded. They didn't get to the expectation that they thought they wanted. But again, it's almost like with kids. A lot of times you see parents living their lives through their children, through sports or whatever, thinking that they're going to make it to the major leagues or whatever. And, so that can be unhealthy also. So again, it's all about managing, I think, your expectations, and let's get out of this dream-like state of what marriage is or supposed to be, and really deal with, what's most important at the end of your life, someone's going to be changing your catheter or changing your diaper or whatever at the end. That's what you kind of get to the end of your life with. And, are you built for that? Or is that something you think you can grow into towards the end? So, but everyone's made salient points tonight. It's hard to pick a side in anything. I thought that every point was valid.
Now, I appreciate that perspective. Thank everybody. Thank you so much for everybody's perspective. Scam like everybody, man. The second thing is the contradiction in this thing is the second thing on this list. And we're not going to do all the top 5. We're going to do just 2, and we're going to move on to James. Got a segment for us. But the second one here is going to blow your mind. The second reason why women say they're not happy and they file for divorce, they feel that they become too codependent on their husbands. They're too codependent on their husband. The real pressures, you're shaking your head. We'll let you go first. That's the second reason. Those two things are clashing. Number 1 and number 2 are clashing. They're too
codependent on your husband?
Yeah, that's number 2.
Is there a such thing? Is there? I don't know.
You tell me, Precious. I don't know, Precious. You tell me. I don't know, Precious.
But like I was saying earlier, that's why women change their clothes, they change their hair, they change their nails, they change, we are very self-centered because a lot of women have been trained to be that way. Daddy took care of you, daddy didn't tell you no, or if you didn't have daddy, you had some man in the street, paying all your bills, and if he didn't work out, then somebody else probably started to do it. Like some women get into the cycle of, again, it's all about me, 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 me. But when you're in a marriage and you're saying you're too codependent on your husband, sometimes you do need something that is still your thing. Like I said, you should be giving birth to something. So you don't always feel like, you have to be underneath of your husband and vice versa. I heard somewhere, before you have a spouse, get a house. Before you have a wife, get a life. So even for men, you talk about men who are working too much or working too much and don't want to go home. That maybe they don't have a life. Maybe what their life is just working and trying to make his wife happy. I think both people need to have something that fulfills them before they are trying to join into each other's lives. I think that is very, very, very important. You need something that when you wake up in the morning, you can be proud of, that you're giving your all to, as well as your husband or as well as your wife, because you're purpose driven instead of people driven. So being too codependent on your husband, I guess that can be a thing. But I mean, if I'm gonna be with my husband, I'm gonna need him. I'm saying that I need you. I need you to, be the leader in my life. So to be codependent on that, I mean, call it for what it is. But when you don't have something that fulfills you, or you don't have something that you can feel a connection to, then it's going to be, you're going to feel like your life is boring. You're going to feel like your life is going down the drain, and you gave all your years to this man, and it's a lot bigger than that. But a lot of people don't want to think bigger. They don't want to do bigger. They don't want to do that work. So they'll settle for being married and, saying that they're giving this man all their best years or whatever it is. And it's a cop out.
Man,
I-
that scam likely. Oh my bad. Oh no, go ahead, Jane. You just gonna go? Who's that?
Yeah, I was gonna be quick. Sorry, I was gonna be quick, bro. I was gonna say, man, we gotta put our spouse or a partner, whatever y'all want to call it. We have to put them in a winning situation. So if you can't say you want somebody to be there and then say you don't want them to be there too much, so it's kind of that's kind of like how it sounds. So now I'm kind of like, okay, all right, well, her car just broke down. Do I need to go, or is she gonna say, hey, I don't want her to be too be dependent. She can call AAA.
I just saw you yesterday.
Yeah, like so it's kind of like we can't confuse our spouse or wife, husband, whatever, because if you continue to do that, that's gonna make y'all break up too. Because like I don't understand you, our communication is bad. So we have to put each other in a winning situation. And I would ask, how can a man fix that? Number two, what can a man do to fix that problem? Like, I don't think a man can do anything to fix that problem, the issue. So that would be my question. How can they fix that? So,
well, number one, it's going to take a lot of communication on the other person who's in the negative feelings. That person has to communicate to the husband in very minute detail. You know what I'm saying? That way he has a full understanding of context, severity, volume. She has to communicate that to her husband. And then they put their heads together. He has to ask her, what do you think I need to do to fix this? He listens to her answer. He contemplates it. He takes that answer and builds a game plan off of that. But the fix that she offered him, that's his foundation for his fix. That's what he uses to build off of it. And he goes from there. That's how a man fixes it. This isn't hard.
Right. Okay. Now
and again, just to finish it off, like I said before, in relationships and in marriage, we have to give each other the time to change and the space to fail. She has to give him that space and that time, the time to make the changes and the space to fail. He's probably gonna stumble along the way. No man's perfect, so she has to allow him that, just like he has to allow it to her if there's a situation where reverse.
I don't know who said it. Somebody said it doesn't need to be a conversation. Now I agree with Dusto and I agree with Mandrell that some conversations need to be had, but I'm not going to say all of them. Because how does that look for Lady Di? I see. I'm glad we're on the same page.
Yes.
We're on the same page. Because my thing is, what does it look like for a woman to come to her husband and say, "Baby, can I talk to you?" "Yeah, baby, go ahead. What's going on? You all right?" "No, I'm not. I'm too dependent on you. I'm dependent on you too much. I need to get out of this being dependent on you. I need to go out and make my own money. I don't want to be depending on you no more.
So get a job."
My thing is,
job won't fix it.
I know, but I'm just saying.
Lady Di, go ahead.
I know it won't, but I'm just saying.
Go ahead.
Of course, I got more pushback, but go ahead.
So, how I look at it is, if you accept your husband to be your leader, I look at it as business. You have the CEO. Underneath that are quote unquote employees. So if we don't depend, right, because the CEO makes the final decision, literally, because it's like life or death. If we don't depend on this CEO, then the whole ship is failing. So it's not about being super dependent. It's just like the reality of order. You can't change order. Order is order. That's how I look at dependency. Like if since you're the wife and you got the husband, I'm not saying that the lady can't go and work if that's what the problem is. If you could go and work, it doesn't matter. But you cannot feel so I guess behind a man. I guess that's what it is. You're so behind a man that you can't succeed. Many women are very successful, quote unquote, behind a man because that man respects what you want to do, and most of the time you're going to be able to do what you want to do. And so it's like a entitlement issue. You want to be with him or you want to be above him. There's no such thing. You're going to be right here. So let's keep it there. And there's nothing wrong with it. You want him to protect you. That's the only way it's going to be. He's the front person. You're behind, but behind doesn't mean that you're second place. And I think because they're putting these titles together, they're thinking about it too much. And then it's making them feel insecure when there's no, there shouldn't be insecurity. It's just order. So if we understand what order looks like, then it'll be okay. You don't hear a manager complaining that they're a manager. And if they are, they would sit here and ask for a percentage of the company, right? But in a marriage, you can't really do that unless the man says, yeah, sure, we can be partners. And that, because that's what we talk about today. You got the leader of the house and you got the partners 50-50. If you guys agree on that lifestyle, then do what you got to do. But be wise about it. You still can't be in front of this man unless you're going to be in the front with him shooting that gun. So you just have to be realistic of what you really want. So that's all I wanted to say.
Right.
Can I ask a question to Lady Di and Mandrell? But because you were talking about communication and then using the CEO model. Excellent. My only question is, what happens when you have a man that does not communicate as much? When he's willing to lead, let's say the CEO, but he's not informing, and depending where the wife is, like I'm just picking titles. Let's say I don't know titles. He's the CEO, but he's not informing the people on his line what he's doing. So now she's wondering what's going on. And back to what Mandrell was saying, they have to talk to each other. But if he's one of those man's man that he handles business, he doesn't talk. That was my question to both of you.
Well,
he's going to be a single man's man.
Yeah, because I'll go first. Here's the thing. Dusto's right, because I used to be like that. Like my communication style was direct, just a straight line, point A to point B. You ask me a question, yes. No embellishment, no nothing. You ask me another question, no. If that was the answer, you know what I mean? So learning how to communicate is paramount. You can ask anyone who knows me. I'm not even the same. Like Dusto knew me pretty much when I first showed up on YouTube. I'm nowhere. Right. Completely different person today than I was then. I gave people what they needed, not what they wanted. You know what I'm saying? And that only goes so far. So when he has to be able to, if he's not communicating or not talking to her, like Dusto said, he's going to be a single man real quick. At any given time, at any given time, if you got a group of men, right? You got a group of women in the same room. At any given time, the best communicator is going to come out on top 10 times out of 10. So if you don't have any emotional intelligence, you don't listen, you don't think about what you're going to say before you say it, you're in danger of being alone.
Well, this is what I have a problem with, though. This is my pushback on that. If you are being married, isn't this when you're married, doesn't it supposed to help you evolve?
It depends. Well, the thing is, you have to want to evolve, and then you have to listen to the person you couple with.
You're not involved.
You have to listen to the person you couple with on what ways they think you should change.
What I'm saying is that these are minuscule things that we're talking about.
No, they're not.
Listen, communication. Some people learn a different way of communicating by being in that relationship. The relationship is supposed to be a classroom for you. People laugh about that, but that is absolutely what it is. That's why it's better to be younger and being married so you can grow up in your marriage. But when you're out here and you expect this person to already have communication skills, be able to make a lot of money, be all these different things, a lot of times you're setting yourself short. When you see people that has been married for a long time and you find out how they were in their early 20s, you will find out that person is a whole different person than what you see right now. And it's because of the classroom that they put themselves into being in that relationship. A lot of people, I'm going to end this right here. I know people right now, mostly women, that are in their 50s, that are mad that they're not with the man that they started out being with. Not that they're just not with him. It's because the woman that man is with now is enjoying who he is at his current state. And she already understood that she had something to do with building that man to what he was. And now another woman is enjoying her hard labor because he was in the classroom of that relationship. And now she's mad because she said, you wouldn't have been that type of man had you not been with me.
Well, the thing is, JT, again, it goes back to what I said earlier. People don't want to build. When you build, yeah, that man is going to be. It's like this in relationships, the way I see it from my perspective. Two people meet. They're two completely different people, right? Their personalities are different because they have different life experiences, right? But they find things like mutual respect, common interest, common interest, things like that they can build off of. And in the process, you talk to each other and you make each other perfect for one another. And that's how it works. So, like, if the guy is honestly putting in work to be that dude, and the woman's putting in the work to be that woman, you should run into very few problems. But if one is putting in work and the other one is either not, or they see some things they don't like and they just bail, you got nothing. You know what I'm saying? So go ahead, Dusto.
We're going back to the original question. Then I was going to respond to something that JT said and kind of something Black Man Unfiltered said.
Okay.
Original question, becoming codependent. The biggest thing, and all I'm talking about is communication today. That's it. Because that's about 80-90% of the damn problem out here in the world. And not even to get to the relationships. People don't know how to talk and they don't listen. Men need to put the sledgehammers down. They hear 3 words, they grab that sledgehammer, modern feminist. That's all they're doing. They didn't hear what was said. They didn't, or they heard the words, but they're not actively listening and hearing, why does she say this? And just ask 4 or 5 questions. She'll tell you everything that she's feeling, thinking, the actions behind it. And you might find out you the one that's screwing the hell up because you won't listen when she said it 6 times. But anyway, back to that. A woman is becoming codependent. She might not believe in your plan. She might not believe in you. She might just have a fear moment. You might not be listening to her, but somehow this assumption might have that fear. I can't depend on you. I need to go have something just in case. And this is a lot how people are wired today versus how they were wired 30, 40 years ago. This is how they are. And honestly, y'all from 30, 40 years ago, y'all the ones that made these people. Y'all did it. But other thing is, the woman's supposed to do this and they got to do this and Trey's comment very, very much backed up. What you put in the chat backs everything I just said up. Put that damn sledgehammer down.
It does. Everything. Here's the thing.
Big ass ears.
Right. You have to use the right tool for the job, man. You have to learn different styles of communication.
Doesn't always work.
If you're gonna be a leader.
I have one more point.
Let him make his point.
One more point. There's the woman should be all of this when she comes to the table. He should do this. There's lies on both sides. They're telling you the man got to be 8 feet tall, protect, provide, and have everything, and just warm him up in the microwave. He's a husband. The women are being told, or the dudes are telling the woman she got to be a ready-made 120-pound wife, and that is not reality. The people who are saying that are the very ones putting out the defective people, and then saying, "Hey, how come you didn't find a perfect wife that she just?" Yeah, because you're teaching me stuff from 45 years ago that doesn't exist today. And times have changed. People have changed for the worse. Now, if you can find that, yes, but more people should look and understand that even those that look and smell or whatever, there's going to be some trauma. There's going to be some communication that's going to be needed, some guidance, some whatever, because people keep jacking it up, and people are jacked up, including myself.
Right. I love it.
If you keep telling people go in this cookie cutter thing, they can't see around and they can't listen and don't even know what to look for. That's what got done to me in my 20s. And my brother. Don't do that.
Accept women how they are.
Now, hold on now. Listen.
Do like Trey and go back to the woman's messed up.
Hold on, guys. Let me say this real quick. Let me say this real quick. Do y'all remember? I know y'all old enough to remember. Ain't no young people on this panel. I mean, not that young. Do y'all remember the phones back in the day? The Nokia phones that you could play Snake, and you could charge that phone once a week. That motherfucker stay charged all week. It will stay charged a week and a half. You don't touch it, right? Now, how long does our cell phone stay charged now?
3 days, a day.
A day.
Depending.
2 hours. Right, 2 hours. Now let me tell you what I'm saying here. Let me put this together. Those phones back then were built to last. Those Nokia phones were our grandmothers and our grandfathers' marriages. Today we're dealing with Samsung and Apple, and now we're we're getting to 17% pretty quick, and we're dying. Marriages are dying very quickly. Hold on.
Messed it up. That's why it is 17% now.
Okay, hold on. Listen,
no disrespect. Man, that's a bad analogy. There was no Instagram. There was no social media.
Hold on, right? But you let me get to the point. Let me get to the point. The reason that those phones lasted like that, because it wasn't a lot of shit pulling it in different directions.
Mm-hmm.
It was used for one goddamn thing only. Well, two. You can play Snake and make a goddamn call. It was simple. It was simple. Now you got fucking 23 apps. You got people you can call, text. They inboxing you, girl. I see them titties today. Right? You got all these different things pulling you in different directions, pulling you from your people. Like he said, the grandparents messed it up.
Yeah.
But we're in a worse situation now.
But here's the thing: they didn't teach adaptability. Hold on, because there's a flaw in your logic.
Hold on, Mandrell. But the thing is, Mandrell, we have to listen. We have to look at. You said that the grandparents messed it up. You have to listen, and I think that looking at older couples who were married for a long period of time, 50+ years, you sit down and talk to these people, and I'm praying one day God bless me with a panel full of old people or old couples, because if you look at some of the things they said, like my grandmother said about her marriage, my grandmother already knew when my grandfather worked on the pipeline, she knew how long he would be gone. So what she did was, my grandmother said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to find something to do as well. I don't have to work. I don't have to do anything, but let me go and get a job. And my grandmother just got a job. She took care of my mom and her 2 sisters. And then my grandfather would come home after 3 months being gone. And there was no arguing. She understood that what he was doing was meant to be done. And back then you had those you had those people saying, hey, listen, I understand my husband is gone, but I'm gonna make sure the kids eat. I'm gonna make sure that I'm going to go do something to occupy my time. And when he come home, we'll see him when he get home. We'll love him when he get home. But now everything, somebody said microwave. So let's keep it there. Everything is microwave now, right? I need you to work hard, but I don't need you to work long. I need you to be here for me, but I need you to go get the bag. Everything is contradicting itself. Everything is just clashing with itself. Nobody respects the hardworking man anymore. That is over. What, you want, a cookie? Right? That's what you hear most women say. What men want for working hard? A cookie? I mean, we're in a bad situation, and I'm trying tonight so hard to find a solution. That's why I have Lady Di and her husband here tonight. That's why this panel is made up of who's here tonight, because I want to find a solution to why people are not. We're gonna get into James' thing in just 30 seconds. Give me 30 seconds. Why we need to find a solution on how marriages can stay together and how people can understand each other. The man needs to understand his wife, the wife understand her husband, understand that there are sacrifices that have to be made, understand that you're not always. I think the biggest problem is we don't understand that you're not always going to get what you want. You're not always going to get what you want. Sometimes you're going to take a L. Baby, I know you want me at home, but I got to work. Right? So I want to get to what James said earlier. I remember James.
Or you want this problem to be fixed in 3 weeks, but it might take 6 months.
Exactly. We're gonna get to that too, Mandrell. We're gonna cook on. We definitely gonna cook some gumbo with that one. But when it comes to James said something earlier, and I'm gonna ask this question: do you guys? We'll start with Jasmine, and we'll go around the room. Do you guys think that reality TV or things that we see in the world, do you think that it's affecting marriages, divorce, separation? We'll start with Jasmine and we'll go around the room.
Okay, y'all can hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm trying to make sure I'm unmuted. Yeah. I do think that reality TV, the things that people see on the internet, is affecting relationships and marriages, and possibly the divorce rates. That's because right now I always say comparison culture is at an all-time high. We got a lot of people right now that they don't even know what they want out of life. They don't know what they want. They'll get online, they'll see something that somebody else have, and then they say, you know what, I want that. Not even knowing what this person is going through. I think I was talking about it the other day, that I had a friend and she saw this girl online that I knew. In the midst of her seeing this girl, she wanted everything this girl wanted. She wanted the foreign car, she wanted the flowers, and all of this stuff, not really knowing what was going on behind closed doors. I didn't want to say too much because I knew the other girl, because Chicago is so small, everybody know everybody. But this girl's getting beat up. So of course, this man had to buy her another car because he damaged her car. So I guess I was saying all that to say is, the statement that I said earlier, like people really don't know what they want out of relationships. They don't know all the hard work that it takes to put into these relationships and marriages. And they just see things online, especially online. You got a lot of women saying be independent, face the bag, go after this, go after that, and they really glorify all these materialistic things, which all that materialistic thing is temporary. So it's like, okay, after you don't work so hard to buy that bag or to get X, Y, and Z, once all of that is gone, then what? You at your crib by yourself with nobody to share any of that with. So to answer your question, yes. To answer your question, I do think that the reality TV shows, because they actually trying to teach women, not teach women, but women see that. And you can see it even in our culture, some of the language that we pick up. Some of the language that we pick up comes from the reality TV shows. I'm trying to figure out what was the last thing they said, like period, all of that stuff. The twerking on the headlights. You see
Whoa.
them doing it on the videos, and then now you see other women getting on social media. Oh, I'm twerking on the headlights. So I really would say like all of that stuff, whether it's the music, the media, all of that. I can't. It's just too much to say. But to answer the question, yes.
All right. I appreciate that. JT, is reality TV and the social world, social media world, is that a bad, is that affecting marriages?
I was guilty at first by saying that it does, but let me tell you, before this whole culture of reality TV came, relationships and marriages were doomed. I think it was the environment that we were in. I think women were the casualties on one end, and men were the casualties on another end. What I mean by that is a lot of women end up being casualties once they start hitting in their mid 40s to their 50s. That's when they end up being casualties. Men end up being casualties through their first divorce or breakup. And you just seen a lot of people. Let me go with the women. You had a lot of women, their friends were telling them when they expressed what was going on with them and their man, whether it was husband or boyfriend, that, this is the things that's going on. The number one advice that they got from their friends was to leave, right? With men, the number one advice that men were getting was to, in order to get over a person, you get up under another person. So it got to a point where men started to be more over sexualized, porn, prostitution, strip clubs, especially strip clubs. They were seeking other things other than being at home. And it got to a point where, again, I had kind of like led to it where men, they didn't really want to go home anymore. And that's why I'm glad that the doc had explained it. But I know, and this was in the 90s, I knew a whole bunch of men that was like, they dreaded going home. Even when they got home, guess what they did? They sat in the car, smoked some, drank some, listened to about 20, 30 songs before they went in there to deal with what they have in front of them.
Oh, 8-track.
Right. And at the same time, the woman, she was talking with her friends and they were giving her exits. giving her ways to make her exit and to get a servant's pay while she's making her exit. I remember this in the 90s. This is my first marriage was in the 90s. So I really understand it was terrible. It was a terrible time. Right now, what we're seeing is the back blow of that. Now you have reality shows and all of these different things, because let's just face it, the generation that's out now, they know nothing about marriage, and they don't care to know anything about marriage. What they're curious now is because they're starting to hear more of the older generation talking about it, even a younger generation that's talking about it again. So we're trying to make it where it's more feasible for people to hear it, more palatable for people to hear it. And we try to make it cool. We try to make it the number one conversation and things like that. But when it comes down to being influenced by television, no. I used to think so, but I know for a fact that it was the environment, and it still is the environment.
All right, James and Lady Di, what are your thoughts?
I go. So I think it's a mixture of the environment, kind of the coaching that we got as kids growing up, and it's and not seeing marriages, and then reality TV was just kind of like the cherry on top. So it kind of like enforced, okay, well, if I'm not going to be married, well, these reality stars are getting their bag and getting to the money. So I'm just, since I'm not doing this, I'm gonna make sure I do this. So and I think in our society we care too much about what they're doing. Like we can drop a video giving great advice about a young married couple, what I mean, we married for this amount of years, right? Blah blah blah, and talking about different ways that we overcame certain things. We won't get that many views, right? And then we talk about a celebrity, we talk about Tia Mowry divorce or something like that. Now we get a whole bunch of views and stuff. So it's kind of like more people are kind of more concerned about what the reality stars are doing, which is like a fake life, rather than, hey, what the people on the ground floor are doing. Like more people should be at this live, listen to these types of conversations so we can actually build and do something. And we got Mr. Bennett been married almost 3 decades, right? So we should be listening to. I'm waiting to hear him talk. So we should be having those people, the elders in the community, to give the wisdom down and pass it down. But we more concerned about the reality stars and getting to the bag now, and we're not learning anything. We got a lot of money, but we don't know how to spend it. We are wasting on different materials. We're not buying no real estate. We're not doing anything with it. We ain't got no retirement plan. We just, we got a Gucci bag though. We got the red bottoms. We got the, all the new latest clothes and stuff. So we have to do a better job in our community, actually getting serious about what we're going to do, what we can provide for our families. So now we can have a community to give to our kids so they can raise up in that and then be better productive children. So.
And before, let me tag some on to him real quick later. Let me put it on his shoulder. When you said that, passing it down to other generations on what to do, and then I think it was Dusto that said,
yeah, it was me.
People are no longer interested in marriage anymore, right? I think it was, or JT, one of y'all.
No, I was saying that the older generation, they're talking about, oh, we got it together, we're all married. Okay, how about your kids? Oh, no, we ain't talking about that. Blah blah blah.
Right, and I think and I agree with you. I think
the kids means the marriage rate should have went up, but it went down like 1/3.
And I think right, and I agree with you. And I'm gonna tack this on to what James said as well, because like I said, we always got to go back. The Real Pressure said this earlier, that we should have a foundation, right? Something that we go by, right? If we believe in God, then we should go by. That's the playbook, right? And so in Titus chapter 2, verses 4-8, this is what it says. The older women must train the younger women to love their husbands and their children, to live wisely and pure, to work in their homes, to do good, and to be submissive to their husbands. Right? That it's right there. So what James was saying is right here biblically. You pass those things down, and like Dusto said, they're not interested in it anymore. The marriage rate is dropped because people stop doing this. Grandmama and Big Mama them stop saying, hey, this is the benefits of marriage. This is what you get out of marriage in a nuclear family. because now we got over 70% of 70% of single women, which we got the average of 2 to 3 kids apiece, and there's no husband in the house, there's no man in the house. They're just living by themselves. Like, so we're taught to give it up, but we ain't taught to give it up. Oh, wait, Lady Di, go ahead. Go ahead, Lady Di.
I just wanted to say quick to the last statement. So what Dusto said, if the generation behind us somehow the message didn't get across, so it makes me wonder why not.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
I would say the message did get across.
They lacked adaptability.
Yeah,
and they failed with.
Don't get money. Don't get married.
But
a whole bunch of reasons. But tune into the show on Wednesday on Mandrell show.
Okay, yeah.
But just a couple of them. Adaptability wasn't taught. There was so much because I said so, and there was do this or I'm gonna beat you or I'm gonna hit you with the Bible because the Bible said. It didn't translate down, and that very. Once some of us got out there in the 20s and realized it was a lie, you can't get those people back.
Okay, can I play the role? So this is what the modern woman. No, I'm sorry, I'm not going to do that tonight. This is what somebody will say. But Dusto, you can't broad stroke all those marriages like that, because there were some very successful marriages that were 50, 60 years in that people adore and look at and look up to, because they had longevity. All those women weren't getting beat. All of them weren't getting their ass beat. All of them weren't getting Bible thumpers, because most of the women were the more adamant ones that go into church. So
no, I was talking about the kids. I was talking about that's what the parents are doing to the kids.
Yeah, even the kids.
Well, and also you have to factor this in. Number one, it was a different time, and a lot of people say we need to get back to this. Back to the times where it's to imply that people got along better back then. And I hear this, I'm like, no, they didn't. No, they didn't. Not in any meaningful way. I mean, they saw less of each other. They were more so together out of necessity, more so than anything else. They had no choice. The back's up where it gets a wall.
They were forced to.
Hold on. They had to stick it out. They had to work together. They had to come to compromises. And the thing is,
they weren't taught to leave.
Right, they were taught to do that.
But why?
And here's the thing, and like Dusto said, people today, there's no adaptability being taught. No one's, and you heard me say this quite a few times, Black Men Unfiltered. People are not taught, boys are not taught how to take care of their woman. They're not taught to lead anyone, even themselves. So how can they lead someone else, let alone a wife and a family? Girls are not taught to cooperate with their men. No one's taught the true definition of submission. So no one has any stamina or longevity for a relationship. No one knows how to really be in one. There's very few of us. There's very few of us who actually know how to be in a long-term relationship. So that's why you got people who leave prematurely. That's why you have people who say, "Well, I'm unhappy," and they leave because, and there's a lot of reasons behind that. The guy might not be listening, or it could be some frivolous reason with the woman. It could be a ton of different reasons why that person leaves, because under the title of unhappy. It could be a ton of reasons why the person's unhappy. So I mean,
hold on, guys. Let's get Real Precious.
Now they're even teaching work stuff.
The Real Precious was next. So go ahead, Real Precious.
Oh, go ahead.
As far as the generation before us or our elders, what is poured into you is going to come out of you. Now, some people, Scam Likely talked about, parents do what I, tell you to do. The Bible, church, all that. Like, I think, most of us up here, or some of us up here, can attest to that. You do what your parents tell you to do. You go to church, you go on to Bible study, we go on to prayer, we're going.
Lord have mercy.
But what I teach and what I say in my adoptive series is that a lot of parents are parents, but they don't teach you who they are as people, really. And so sometimes there's a harsh translation from trying to do the right thing in this world and actually live out your life in this world. And so when your parents aren't really, there's a time where they have to parent. There's a time where they have to, be that I can't get it out. off. I can't get it out.
Authentic.
Authoritarian.
Authoritative.
Authoritative.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Hey, it's like we're doing Jeopardy.
It's Jello.
Go ahead, sweetheart.
They have to be that. But then there's a time where I believe that parents need to realize that you know you're your own person. You're going to become a parent. And so there has to be some realness in between the relationship that you have with one another. And I think that if you don't have that with your parents, then you start to fall into the line of comparison. Well, they're not going to church and they're not doing this. In my home, it was a lot of the TV was blocked, the internet was blocked. We were I barely watch. I tell people all the time, even now, my TV stays on the screensaver. It doesn't, I really don't. Football, yes, you will catch me watching football on Sundays when
Come on now.
season. Maybe the news in the morning, but even that, you know, you have to watch your ear gates and your eye, you know, your eye gates. And I was taught that at a younger age.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes into being in relationship, because your parents are the first relationship that you see, and so you know that's huge. If you don't see a good one, if you don't see a healthy one, if you see abuse and all of that good stuff, that toxicity, I should say, then you're not going to really know. You're going to be guessing. And then you have reality TV, where it's reality TV is not even reality TV.
Right.
You know, it's entertainment TV. And so when you don't have the training or the upbringing to let you know that or to monitor that, you're going to be comparing yourself to other people. There's going to be so many options. There's going to be so much commotion. There really isn't going to be any control over, you know, the stimulus that you see. And so we all know that comparison is the thief of joy. Then that means what's inside of you, what makes you happy, what, you know, puts a smile on your face can easily be taken away by something that you see or hear on a TV, on a radio, on YouTube, on Instagram, you know, and whatever social media outlet there is, because you don't have a joy that's anchored inside of you. You have a lot of fleeting feelings, right? You have these shows that come on at 8:00 at night, and they're the same cycle of drama and fighting. And I said nowadays, I think fighting is a part of the contract for reality TV. Like before, it was a whole bunch of the arguing and back and forth, and then they got to the point where they looked like they was gonna fight. But now it's like WWE on reality TV. Like, you know, is a part of the contract. It's a part of the programming. It's a part of you know, programming younger folks to say, this is how you deal with your issues. And I think, yes, the elders are supposed to say, no, that's not how it's done. Or I've been here and I don't want you to go down the same road.
Yep.
So I think at the end of the day, that comparison is definitely the thief of joy. I don't even YouTube. I come in here, do what I got to do, and then I get off. I'm not watching everybody. Love y'all. But I'm not putting myself in a lot of different, you know, areas and spaces and thoughts, and I got things to do. I have goals, so I can't put my time and energy in certain places. But a lot of people don't think fast forward that way, in that way, or they weren't trained to do that.
So I just wanted to answer the question really, really quick. I never answered it.
Go ahead.
So
Thank you,
I feel like a lot of us, I had to write a little bit of notes this time. I feel like a lot of us are we're not inquiring. So you know how, okay, some of us want to be millionaires, right? But we don't have any millionaire friends. So how the hell am I going to become a millionaire? Right? You have to go and seek this knowledge. So, because we could blame the elders for not teaching. I believe that they should be teaching, yes. But then at the same time, why are you not asking? Because if you're not asking, then that means you don't want it. So if you don't want it, then when you watch the reality TV, you're going to start becoming something else than what you should be, because you never wanted like the marriage, but you're like, I don't know what I want. So you watch everything and everything is influencing you when you should know your purpose. So I believe that people need to start learning their purpose. Like I could watch a movie right now that's like so bad. So let's think of like the worst scary movie in life. I could watch that right now and not be influenced by the danger and all that demonic stuff in there, because I know what my purpose is. I know that I'm watching this show or this movie to just get entertainment. That's why it's called that. If we look up the definition, it is literally to entertain thyself, the mind, whatever it is that's to you. You're just supposed to be able to watch. You could watch anything. I feel like anybody could watch anything. I could watch. I'm not interested in to watch Love and Hip Hop anymore. I used to watch it back in the day, but I never acted like those people there. But what I'm saying is today, I could watch that show, indulge into it right now, be very entertained, and still not act like the people that I'm looking at. So it's because I know what my purpose is. And it's not because I'm married. Before I was married, I was watching Love and Hip Hop and I still didn't want to be like that because I still knew what my purpose was. So I feel like a lot of us are lost and we need to figure out ourselves. I think a lot of you, Jasmine and Precious, I think we're saying that you got to be happy and understand what you need, what you want, and you should be able to adapt to anything that's going on. Because we can't sit here and blame every single situation like, oh, well, they didn't teach us. Well, okay, maybe, sometimes some of them are going through depression. I don't know. It could be many reasons why they're not teaching. But why should we figure out why they're not doing something where we're not doing something? We want something, we got to go and get it. So that's all my whole point.
All right. So, Jasmine, I'm going to get you in just a second. Scam got to go. So I'm going to let him get his final thoughts. And when he go, I'll get you back in, sweetheart. Go ahead, Dustin.
I appreciate it. I almost feel important now, almost. But yeah, I ain't gonna go in too much deep about what they didn't, because I don't believe in blaming and all. They didn't, But just when the older people come and say, "How come you won't do it like us? We've got it all together." I'm like, no, just no. Then yeah, I'm gonna push back on them. Like, okay, why y'all leave us out here looking like this then? But there's a lot of things that weren't taught. Adaptability. You can't teach 70s style stuff in 1995 because they can let's be real. The older people can't use a computer and don't know about technology. So in the future, technology is the future. They can come back and even say, okay, well, how come your generation ain't teaching technology to the kids? Huh? Blah, blah. Let's be real. It's falling apart as it goes down. But the social media influences, I just say this. Does it have an influence on marriage? Yes. Those who want to go and find more information and do better things, there's social media to make it better. Those who want to be victims, there's victim.com, and you can sit on there for hours and align with every victim from east to west. There's dust.org. You can get on a dust panel and yell at women all night. There's talkingpointmafia.net. You can sit up there. 50% of the women are childless and there's just weain'tlistening.com, and you can just do whatever you want, whatever negativity. And usually you'll see that the people what they fall in line with represents a form of what they are. So it's nothing but a sorting process. The only thing that's really not cool is the manipulation factor, that there are some people who actually want to know something and they get hit with the talking point mafia. Because there are some people who just don't know. Then they get up there and they can go, chase the bag. And they get ragdolled. And some of these people, once they get burnt you think you've seen something now? Imagine all the incels and anger men out there. What do you think is going to be 2 or 3 more heartbreaks? What you think it's going to look like in 3 years? If 20% of the men you see now get the heart broke 1, 2, 3 more times. That's all I got.
And it's written that men shouldn't be alone. So
it's going to be in a casket. But other thing is this: communication. Don't forget the order. Learn how to actively listen. Put the sledgehammers down. The more and more you listen, you'll find out you didn't went into a whole nother world that you didn't know existed. I'm saying this because I wasn't the person that I am now. And I wouldn't know how to troll if I wasn't a good listener. But the person 5 years ago, 10 years ago, I had them Mother Queen Goddess ready to warm up in the microwave wives and fumbled because I didn't know how to listen and I didn't know how to communicate properly. So I got to level 1, level 2, and then fumbled. I don't want to see it happen to somebody else. But if you don't want to listen, cool. Give her my number. She can meet somebody who will. That's all I got. Y'all have a good night.
All right, brother. Have a good night, man.
And I second what Dusto's saying.
Hold on, Mandrill. I'm gonna get these super chats out the way, and then Jasmine got to go because she was trying to get in there before Dusto left. But let me get these super chats real quick, guys. Let's see what we got here. We got Marcus in the building. Marcus Evans, thank you so much, man. He said, "What's going on, my good people? Thank you for the $5 super chat." We got Clement Gray. They're committed to being uncommitted. BMU, thank you for that $2 super chat. We got John the Baptist. Talk about those trash Lakers. He said, "My Lakers are killing it." We got John. They trash.
No, they're not.
And then we got John the Baptist with another $10 super chat. Marriage is not about happiness or love. We got Clement Gray coming with another one. Says, like it or not, the old ways worked. Can't change it. All right, thank you guys. We're gonna take a quick break for you guys. I'll bring in Mr. Violin, Mr. Bennett, and we'll be right back. And then Jasmine, you come right in.
Oh, let me slow it down. Rapping with the singing, I be singing. You can get it all free like welfare. Back to the beginning. Know what I told ya. I got 2 degrees. Now I'm dumb rich. This sound like some 718 shit. The living weirdo on the same shit. Damien, let's go violinist.
All right, man. Thank y'all for that super chat. The lovely Jasmine says it all. You go ahead and go next, and then we get Mr. Bennett in here because I know James and Lady Di is waiting to hear Bishop Bennett. Go ahead, Jasmine.
Okay, so I wrote down 3 things. The first thing, I want to say something to James. I had a question for you, and then I guess the
that ain't nobody but the devil. That ain't nobody but the devil. All right, go ahead, Mr. Bennett.
Well, just to address what Brother James was saying, I appreciate you saying that, yeah, you need to be listening to me, but honestly, I'm here to listen to you. Like I said, another panel, I'm specifically saying this is my 27th year. I say that for a reason, because I can't necessarily use what happened in the 90s or the 2000s to work for me now. So having that mindset of taking it a season at a time, that helps me to get other perspectives, from a younger couple like yourself, or people who are contemplating marriage, and the OGs who've been married for a while. So everything you guys have been saying tonight has either been validating what I've already believed or giving me something that I need to consider. So it keeps me open. But if I come up here saying, "Oh, I've been married longer than anybody on this panel, what can you guys tell me?" Then that doesn't serve me, and it really doesn't serve anybody else. I'm just one of those OGs like Dusto was saying, that we think we had it right. And no, we didn't always have it right. And certainly in my marriage, we didn't get it right. We had to grow into some things. It's constantly, we're still growing and we're still evolving, as life changes. And this is the thing that, so again, that point about adaptability, that is so vital, because again, we're going into this empty nesting stage of our lives. My youngest one is 19. So again, it's for, very shortly, it's just going to be me and my wife. What are we going to do then? Because we don't have kids. We don't have, a lot of those responsibilities like before. So again, we're starting to plan for what this next season in our lives is going to be about. There's always going to be those changes. So guys, again, your woman's going to gain. If you think about marriage, she's going to gain for about 40, 50 pounds. You have 2, 3 kids, that weight's coming. All right. So again, we marry our dreams. So again, that hourglass shape, yes, you can get in the gym, get back in shape or whatever. Yes, you see the Instagram women who, had 5 kids and, they still got this felt figure. That's not everybody. You got to roll with that. So the idea that, I offer, so if you ask me a question, certainly I offer my perspective on what's worked for us. But again, I'm not here trying to OG anybody on this panel. I just like being part of the number, and just like seeing that you have people on here who are serious about this, because again, are we going to be able to change things drastically? I don't think so. But if we can get 5-10% of people thinking about marriage in different ways, or those people who are looking for help, as Dustin was saying, if we can help those people take the institution more seriously, then I think we're doing something that's going to be positive. All right. But again, as far as getting 80%, get back to 80% of people, black people being married again, I'm not thinking about that. But for those that want to listen to this content, absolutely. And again, also I'm not offering much because again, as far as is reality TV or these shows, are they influencing us? Again, I think it's influencing those who lack. Okay. Again, as Lady Di was saying, I mean, if you are grounded, if you know who you are, you can look at that stuff, watch anything, and think that's just entertainment. But if you have nothing to fill, if you have no models, if you have no example, who's pouring into you, then yeah, those things become much more influential. So it's like we focus so much on removing the weeds, but we're not putting the fertilizer that makes the grass grow. You treat the grass and the weeds won't grow. But we're always just plucking the weeds out, but what are we pouring in? So I think those are things we have to look at when we, look at, what's, is internet and all this is hurting marriage. Marriage is hurting all over the world. I mean, folks in Asia aren't getting married. And they have restrictive, like there's things you can't get on. You don't have social media the way you have it over here in China and these other places. And people still aren't getting married. So I think this whole, these talking points that a lot of people are raising, I think we got to dig deeper. And like, what are we going to start pouring into people that make people better and how it's going to work for this time. And I'm looking at this as, again, I'm a student here just as much as if I have something to offer, great, but I'm just a student just like you guys are. So I appreciate it, but I don't want the crown. You guys can have it. Someone else can have it, but I'm here to learn and listen to you guys just as much.
Now, ladies, welcome back Jasmine back to the set here because she was sponsored by Cricket Wireless, but while we were on commercial, we got her Verizon, and she's back with us right now. Jasmine,
she needs one of these OG phones. See these phones? Yeah. She needs one of these landlines,
the ones that don't die,
with the dial on it. See, see these
the rodeo phones. Yeah,
you never had that.
My boost shirt died. Where you at? All right, I'm back. Okay, so
go ahead, Jasmine. And then
I had 3. Somebody said I got Metro PC. Okay, so the first thing I wanted to say something to James. I had a question for Black Man Unfiltered, and then the last part was will be a question for Lady Di and the Real Precious. So for James, you had said something about like with the media. A lot of times you can be out here posting positive stuff, and you may get like 2 or 3 likes. But if you say something negative, you may get thousands of likes. How I viewed it. Misery loves company. So people rather put that energy into something negative as opposed to something positive. So it's sad to say that most people resonate with that negative part of stuff that's going on. Because a lot of people don't want to put in their work. So if it's negative, it's getting attention. It don't matter if it's good attention or bad attention. I want to say that. And what was the Bible scripture that you said, Black man? You said older woman must train the younger woman, right?
You're on mute.
Yes, the elder one.
Oh yeah, the elder women should teach the younger women. This is what it says specifically. Titus chapter 2 verses 4 through 8. These older women must train the younger women to love their husbands and their children, to live wisely and to be pure, to work in their homes, to do good, and to be submissive to their husbands.
Okay, so that goes into the last question that I want to say. With the Lady Di said no, the Real Precious said something about toxicity, and then Lady Di said something about if it's something that you're lacking or something that you wish to attain, you should seek it. A lot of times in this generation, we have a lot of women that's trying to be better. We have a lot of women that's trying to be better, and we're seeking things from older women. Even if we've been brought up in a toxic situation, we're seeking it from outside the home. But nowadays, especially when it comes to Black women, you have these older Black women being nasty to the younger Black women. It's almost as if they're in competition with the younger Black women, and it makes it hard for us to kind of want to seek that advice from them. Because the way they come off for us is like really nasty and that. You get what I'm saying? So when you have my question, I guess to the other 2 women on the panel is, in that situation, how would you go about maneuvering that situation?
So,
go
go ahead,
ahead.
Precious. Go ahead.
Go ahead, love. I was literally just having this conversation earlier with someone how women will, especially the older women, are just so nasty and like catty, and their first interaction with you is almost intentionally negative. And what I would say to that is, you just got to stay away from a woman. You have to, you have to block certain things out, because women naturally, women naturally assimilate. Women naturally go where other women are. But I think a lot of women have to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. They have to get comfortable with, traveling a road less traveled by women. Marriage is not something that a lot of women want nowadays. And a lot of times it's because of media, but a lot of times it's because the elders, again, they're nasty about it, because maybe they weren't heard out as people, and their parents just say, you have to do, you have to do. That's why I'm a huge advocate. And it's probably, again, because I was adopted, where you have to build that bridge to connect. You can't just say, this is what we are and you're going to have to be okay with it. And, this is, no, you have to build that bridge to connect. And if women aren't helping you build that bridge to connect, that's not, vibe with your tribe. That's not your tribe. Those aren't the women that you want to, listen to. I mean, they're almost a part of the reality TV. So it's almost like what reality TV is telling you to do the opposite. And that goes into what Lady Di was saying earlier, of seeking that knowledge. Barnes and Nobles is my favorite store. I'll probably be there again tomorrow, because it brings peace. It brings, a foundation for me to think. And yes. And a lot of women, they don't want to think. They don't want to be in their feelings. They don't want to be, alone, because they don't want to, be naked per se. They don't want you to see them, you know what I mean? And it's like, sometimes you got to go back to the garden and just be like, who told you were naked? We all have issues. We all have problems. We all, have a card that God could pull. So what makes me better than you? Nothing. We're all here trying. But if I can help you, I will, but I won't harm you. And a lot of women don't have that intention, and sometimes they're harming unintentionally. And it's just like, you as a person got to say, is that right with my spirit or no?
Pretty much. And to answer the question,
hold on, Lady Di, because you got your husband. Hold on a minute. I just want to publicly say that the real Precious, after saying that, your DMs may fluctuate a little bit, because the men are listening, and I guarantee you that your inbox is going to go up 33%. So I just want to make sure that you're prepared for the overflow of blessings coming your way. So go ahead, Lady Di, have your way, sugar. Have your way.
Indeed, Precious. Definitely, you'll be blessed, one day. But I wanted to say, so I think what's happening is a lot of us ladies don't have common sense, because I wasn't taught right. I had certain tools. I'm not going to say it was like all the way bad and I had the worst situation like some people had. I didn't have the worst situation. I literally seen my parents married and I seen it ripped away. So I seen like both, right? And then I have family members that never been married in life. Okay. So I've seen a lot of different things, just to say the least. But I didn't have the full foundation. I had like a piece of it. But I was taught wrong. But me being taught wrong didn't make me, well, let me go do what they said, because it's common sense. You look around you and you're like, that lady over there, right? I don't like that situation. That's not me. My value is a little bit more than that lifestyle. That lifestyle is not easy, and I don't want that. You have to ask and talk to yourself sometimes. You're like, nah, I'm good. Nah, I'm good. You looking around of these weird uncomfortable situations. I'm not talking about the uncomfortable thing that Precious was saying, but I'm literally talking about an unpleasant way of life that you do not have to live like this, right? Once you look around and use your common sense, your brain, and like know, then you start to seek out the knowledge. It's like levels to it. So it seems like we don't have common sense. And it's not to say you got it right away, because I didn't. What I did was I did listen to the terrible advice that I received. I actually did it. And I didn't like the result. And I was like, yeah, I'm gonna end up like what I'm looking at. And I was like, I don't like that feeling. So it's like a personal thing you have with yourself. If you like that feeling, then guess what, honey? That's what you are. So I guess you're gonna have this uncomfortable life. Or you're gonna be like, no, I'm better than that. And then you're gonna make your changes. Nobody's perfect. No one is perfect coming in, even if you did receive good advice, because you still might do the opposite. But you still have to learn from it. And if you feel uncomfortable, then you need to start moving and need to start talking to people who are more positive. Because there are people that are negative, that's just how the world is going to be. It's not changing, but that doesn't mean that it's going to determine your future because all of these ladies are bitter or negative or whatever the issue is. That's not your life. Your life is your life. So you got to make the best out of it. Don't make the best out of terrible, drama-filled situations. Look at them, ask them questions like, hey, so how did you get this? Why did you? And I'm talking about the negative lives that you're looking at. They'll tell you. It's going to be a drama-filled conversation, but they're going to tell you, right? There's going to be a lot of lies in that, but at least you get an understanding. Talk to the man too. Well, wow, why didn't that work out? Why are you not XYZ? You need to people need to just talk. They'll tell you the truth. They love to talk about drama. They'll talk about their own drama to everybody, right? You talk to the ones with drama, and you talk to the ones without drama. And then you got to put it together and be like, yeah, I fit this other side. And then you just make it work. But it's not going to be like a certain age. It depends on your maturity level.
I was going to say
now,
something.
I want to say this. Hold on, James. Now, y'all heard what she said. Stay out of her damn DMs because she has a husband right here. Don't you go in her DMs tonight. Go ahead, James.
I was going to say too, the best people to get advice from, you see how Mr. Bennett said, hey, I'm trying to learn from you. Those are the best people to get advice from because it comes from a humble place. And then too, when you talk to them, they're going to tell you, hey, I messed up right here. They're not going to say sugarcoat things to you to make it seem like everything is peaches and cream and stuff like that. So I kind of look at it like a track meet, right? So you have sprinters and you have endurance. So since we've been married a lot younger than Mr. Bennett, we're more like the sprinters. So we good at that right now, but he has the endurance side. So you need to get both sides of the coin. So okay, I know how to last in a long relationship that goes long term, and I know, okay, what's the quick things I need to fix right now, so I can make sure my relationships stays together intact right now, and then now I got the full picture with the endurance. So I was going to add.
And now, before we move forward, I'm because we was on that for a little bit, and thank you, Jasmine, for your questions. This next question, I'm gonna start with the guys at the bottom here. This is gonna be our last question, guys. Why do women not want to build? Why do women not want men? And I'm gonna rephrase it. Why is it that women will tell a man what the problem is, and then when a man tries to fix it, they don't want to build anymore? They just leave. Let me give you an example. I don't like the way you talk to me. You could use better verbiage when you talk to me. It feels disrespectful. And then the man comes and says, well, you know what? Let me fix that. Let me start working on my language. And right when he or she starts to work on their language, the person will say, you know what? I'm out. I can't do this. Why do, because we understand, because I heard somebody in the chat earlier, I remember somebody saying about, why are we focusing on the women? Because they leave. Men don't leave. And listen, women can go cheat with a one-legged man named Tony Evans, and the man will not tell his homeboys, but he's gonna stay. Men stay, they don't leave. It's hard to disconnect from a man. But women will leave. They leave your ass. So I want to know why. It's cheaper to keep her. But I want to ask the question. That question specifically. Why don't women want to build anymore? And why do they leave when signs of trouble come, or when they encourage their spouse or mate to change and they begin to change? Why do women leave? Why is it so easy? We'll start with JT and we'll go up.
We can simply say, because they can't find happiness.
How did I know you was gonna say that?
Well, it's they haven't been taught the whole thing of being in a relationship, in a marriage. They haven't taught what it's about. They keep looking at the marriage for what they can get out of it, the relationship for what they can get out of it, and not what they can build through it. They don't even understand that the relationship is not for them. They're the ones building it. It ain't for you. This is for the surroundings. It may be for your parents. Maybe you have parents that didn't do it right, and they see that you have. I've saw that before. It's definitely for your children. It's definitely for little cousins and nieces and nephews. It's for everybody that surrounds you, or that you and other people surround. It should be the gift that keeps on giving. They don't understand it because they're still looking for happiness in it. They're looking for it to make them happy or whole. They're looking for all of these nuances that's in these love songs and poems. Now, don't get me wrong. I love songs. I love especially 70s and 80s love songs.
Go ahead and sing some for us real quick, Doc. We got time.
I'm not.
Drop a couple. Who's your favorite?
Oh, come on, give us a first line of something.
Man.
I ain't
main ingredient. Always.
You know what? Let me help you. Ba-dum, bum, bum.
Girl, you know I love you.
Come on, no matter what. Come on, preach, boy.
No matter what you do.
I'll tell you,
I know that's right. Give it up for JT and Black Man.
Lou, it's hard for men to leave. That song right there says it all.
Yeah,
He said, I love you no matter what you do. She can go out, she can be with one eye running. He don't care. I don't care what you do. I love you.
Yeah, I love those songs.
That's right.
I'm gonna tell you the reason why. It's because at least people actually understood what was real and what was fake. What those songs were, they were something to kickstart, the thing between a woman and a man. It was a time where a man had to pursue that woman. It wasn't about her pursuing that man. It was no song about her pursuing that man. It was songs about her keeping that man. We're not really pursuing that man. It was always about the man pursuing that woman, keeping that woman. It was all these different things. We don't have it anymore. It's not in our environment. So that's why you have to revert to some of these songs. And I gotta say, and I'm gonna get off this thing with the songs, but if you guys listen to Earth, Wind, and Fire,
come on, Doc. Which one?
The Commodores, all of them. Listen to all of them.
The Whispers,
the Commodores,
the Whispers,
Stylistics, things like that.
Oh my!
What they were doing was they were getting men to a point of being at a softer tone with women. Actually being able to not being what they call today a simp, but a man that actually show a woman their softer side, because men were actually more back then, they were more stoic than they are now. So there were moments when a man had to prove that he actually loved you, and that was to break out of his stoicism. Did I say it right? Stoicism? Did I say it right, Mendred? Stoicism.
Stoicism,
man.
Whatever.
We all have a moment.
Right. But it was to go out of that for a moment to show a woman that there's a softer side to him. That was the reason why. And
so JT, you weren't feeling Teddy Pendergrass, and you got
absolutely, I was. I listen to him every morning. My woman will tell you I have a concert that I do every morning before we go to work. And she look at me crazy, but she likes it. She likes my concert. It's anywhere from New Edition to the Stylistics. I don't know. It's gonna be something that's gonna have something to do with me loving that woman.
But see, JT, but okay. See, now you brought this up. This on you. You brought this your fault. Because if you listen to the lyrics of some of these songs, it expresses a story. So we don't have that no more. And right now we got amen. Right? That's what we got now. That bullshit now is horrible. But what I'm saying is, back in the day, songs had substance. And what I mean by that is, think about Teddy. Mr. Bennett, it's your fault. Think about Teddy. Teddy said, turn off the lights and light a candle. You can imagine this in your mind. You thinking, damn, I need to do that. Right? Tonight, I'm in a romantic mood. Let's take a shower together. I'm going to preach this thing tonight. He said, I'll wash your body and you wash mine. So we ain't going to be stanky. You know what I'm saying? It said, rub me down with some hot oils. Oh, baby. And then he just said, turn them off.
Okay.
Don't have to tell you twice.
He didn't have to tell you twice. Come on, man. JT, you started this. Hey, but go ahead, man. Go ahead and finish what you're saying, bro.
So, right now, this is what I do know, that it's natural for a woman to feel want to feel secure, right? And a lot of times, a lot of women don't feel secure, right? Because you have some guys that just ain't there no more. If you listen to too much rap at these times right now, you're doing it wrong. You got to listen to something that it ain't got to be just, love songs. But if you know anything about Michael Franks, if you like listening to jazz, if you know anything about, Coberson, you know what I'm saying? If you know something like that, I like wooing. I like to do the old things when it comes down to it. But again,
you want some Dionne
I
Warwick?
also like to make her feel what we're talking about, secure, right? And she's going to tell me, she's going to get antsy, and she's going to express it to me that she doesn't feel secure in some way. I don't feel that you love me anymore. We're not having sex as often as we used to. It's going to be a whole lot of things that she's going to tell me. It's up to me to volley that back to her, to respond back to her. Most men will react nowadays. A lot of men don't look at women as being women. And what I mean by that is that she's going to be a little fussy. She's going to be a point where she's going to feel unsure, especially when you first meet her. She's going to feel like, I need to find out how I can trust you. She's going to have a whole bunch of questions. What I found out in my 50 years is that women will go to the wrong people and ask them the right questions. And that's where the problem is. A lot of times they can go to that man.
They should go to him.
Yeah. So one of the things that I'm looking at now, folks, is that the solution that we have to get to when it comes down to this is that we have to actually start being human beings with each other all over again. Not reinvent the wheel, but we have to start being at a point where we can gain each other's trust. I had to tell my girl, me and her both, it was just like, shit, we strangers. We met each other as strangers. Now we got to build from that. I'm not going to act like we've been knowing each other for a long time, so you should know how I am. Hopefully you ain't going to do the same thing to me. We don't know each other right now. Let's work from there. And now we can build that. And I'm going to end it. Landing my plane.
All right.
Let me hop in, Black man, because I'm getting ready to head to the gym.
Okay, go ahead, Doc.
I'm glad you brought up this reality show and what we see on TV. You guys don't know this, but I was this close to being on Black Ink Crew.
You say it again. Say it again.
I was this close to being on Black Ink Crew.
Why? 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 Why?
I'm going to tell you why. My ex-girlfriend is on Black Ink Crew. I won't tell you
Well,
who.
which one, boy?
I'm not telling you. I'm not doing that. But
Well, I'm gonna call you after
we
this. You're gonna tell me, damn it.
we dated for about 3.5 years while I was stationed in New Jersey, and while I was stationed in Turkey, and she wound up going on her own way and whatnot. There was a point in time where, for those of you guys who don't know, there's a storyline for each character. Every character has their own storyline. She needed a storyline, and her storyline wanted to be somebody from her past being a love interest. And I happened to be an ex. We happened to kick it over that summer before they started taping. And she asked me, did you want to do it? I met with the executive producer, but once I found out that the entire thing was scripted, I was out. And the money is horrible. It's terrible. They do not make what you think they're making. It's terrible. For what I thought they were making, I was like, I make more money on my regular job than what y'all making. It's ridiculous. So what women, not only women, but what people see on TV has always been a representation of something to aspire to. This has never changed. It's been like this since my grandmother's 83 years old. She can tell you stories about Dorothy Dandridge and Eartha Kitt and back how they used to wear their hair and how they all wanted to wear their hair the same way. This is not really anything new. I think now what has happened is there was always a checks and balance system in the home. Whether it was big mama, grandmama, it was always somebody to pull you back and say, what you're seeing, that's not reality. Those days are over, right? You don't have a checks and balances system. And I'll give you a quick example. My sister she'll be 34 this year. She's single, unmarried, never had a child. She lives in LA. And one day my mom had the balls to ask her, why aren't you married? And before she could say a word, I said, don't answer that. I said, the reason why she's not married is because you didn't teach her. You never showed her anything. She has no idea what it's like to have a relationship with a man because you never showed her what it was like. She doesn't understand it. It doesn't make sense to her. All she knows is me, 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 me. Get what I can get because that's what she saw you do. Now, me and my mother no longer have a very good relationship after this conversation.
Wow.
Because it hurt her feelings. But that was the truth. The truth is that me, even as a man growing up under a single mother, I never saw a man love my mother. So because I never saw a man love my mother, I end up in areas of how to love a woman. I never saw it. I've had to learn over time what it is to love a woman, and that has nothing to do with how I feel loved. So we have a lot of people walking around who don't understand what they're doing, especially in 2023. If you're 20 years old, that means you were born in 2003. Your parents were not talking about marriage. My sister was told, go to college, get a degree, be independent, you can do it at home. That's what she was told. She was born in 89. So what do you think the women of 2004, 2005, 2006 that were born in, what do you think they're being told? You don't need a man. A lot of women don't know, because you asked a question about conversing with a man. A lot of women don't know how to converse with a man because there was no man in the house. Because there's no man in the house, you don't understand how to have that conversation. My sister calls me, and the first thing she says when she calls me, she says, I need somebody to tell me the truth. Because the conversation with me is a whole lot different than the conversations with her other friends. Because I'm not going to pull any punches because I'm not trying to sleep with you. I'm going to tell you the honest truth, and you're not going to like it. I think overall, and I've made this statement before, overall, there's going to be a gap in time. And there's going to be generations that are just lost. It's not going to make sense what really happened. I think the generations now are looking back and saying, listen, marriage is good. And although I don't aspire to be married, I don't think that it's not the worst option. I don't think marriage is the bad thing. I think when it's done right and the people do build together, I think it's awesome. I've seen it work, right? It's not my thing. But I've seen it work for other people. I think you're going to have the groups now that are going to reach back to the younger children and going to tell them it's okay. He's not going to make $100,000 at 22. That's ridiculous. But build with him now, and he will get there, and he is going to be more loyal to you if you ride with him. If I would have stuck with a woman that I was with when I was making nothing in the military, I would be a very happy man today. It is extremely difficult when you're retired at 35 years old, you have dividend income coming in every month, and you don't really have to work to choose a woman because you have no clue what she's here for. You just can't tell. I would have much rather build with a woman, but when you have women that are not being taught how to build with a man, grow with a man, talk to a man, converse with a man, right? Deal with his emotions because men are emotional. I'm emotional, right? Deal with his emotions. We're doomed. So it's nice to see Lady Di. It's nice to see, her and her husband here because I know I follow y'all I follow you on Instagram. I know that you guys have conversations with couples. It's important to reach back to them. That's not my space. I'm more in the financial space. Somebody brought up Barnes and Noble. I learned everything I needed to know about the stock market by hanging out at Barnes and Noble, which is why I was able to invest in Tesla's IPO in 2010, changing my life. But that's another statement for another time. But the idea that you guys are reaching back, I mentor the kids, boys 10 to 18, on finances. That's the only move. That's the only play we have. The only play we have is to reach back to them and say, listen, this is the proper way to do things. Don't do it the way we did it because our mamas, grandmamas, they jacked it up. They told us to go get education. That's not the way to do this. So I can appreciate it. But unfortunately, a lot of people learn from what they see. And if you don't have a proper image, you don't have a North Star to look to, you're going to be lost. I'm going to the gym. Y'all have a good night.
Hey, I appreciate you, brother, man. Good night. Hey, Trey, before you go, I got a gift for you. Are you ready?
Yes, please go.
I have a gift for you. You know, I always have to give it to you every time I see you, brother, because I know you need a smile on your face. Ladies and gentlemen, Black David dancing. Black David, 13 years old, dancing. Here he is. Trey, are you good, Trey?
Yeah, look, I'm not on the treadmill. I'm getting ready to go get on the treadmill.
All right,
So don't play when I get on there.
I just want to give you Black David before you left, man. All right, you have a good workout, brother. Uh-oh. But anyway, so let's get to Dr. Nkumbe. Dr. Nkumbe, what are your thoughts, man, as we move on?
Oh, all right. Thank you. Please understand my perspectives are from pretty much what everyone said. When people come to see me saying those things, these are the things that we get to the underlying. I heard a lot of people explaining situations, but not the true problem. Recently, and I don't know how many years, but if you look at the Jonathan Winter situation and all the cases going on, the victims are now John Does or Jane Does. You can get 20, 30 people to make accusations. Their names are protected. Our media has not only offered these messages of what to do and how to do it, but our policies have changed. Parents can't parent the way that they used to. I hear a lot of people talking about what older people should have done and should have done. We weren't living with them. I find it insulting that we're in what older people should have done and how they should have done it. We weren't there. And I was just on the show previously with a few people in the list on the chat and on here, where there was a gentleman who was almost to tears because he was talking about how many mistakes he made to his daughter and how much time that he lost. And people forget, if you have a history of being abusive, if you have and abuse comes in all kind of forms, verbal, physical, psychological, neglect. How long are people supposed to sit around while we neglect them? We don't even say hi to each other anymore in our text messages. I have a cousin text me, I haven't heard from her in 6 months. She sent me a message, hey, Billy went to the store. Huh? I mean, our communication styles have changed so much. I do family reunification work for the offenders who've hurt people. They don't want to meet with them. If once you abuse someone, they do not want to meet with them. So when we're talking about wives or girlfriends or whatever, wives staying in these relationships, we're in a culture where people don't even stay. They ghost you because you said one word wrong. They ghost you. So if we live in a society that does that, how are we expecting our wives to stay? We have people who wake up and if you say something to them wrong, that they don't even want to talk to you that entire day. So people say they change and they did this and they did that and they changed, but we don't live in the world where just because you change, I'm automatically supposed to accept you or keep you or take you back. We are given so many messages that say leave. I'm part of so many like Facebook platforms or chats where the first answer is leave them, leave them, leave them. That is our first go-to. So I'm a little surprised when we hear like someone is worried about being, people leave and leave, and we're applauding that they should stay and talk to us and stay. We don't live in the world in a society, current society, that people stay. Here's some rules. Um, Ghosting, texting, Barnes and Noble, bookstore. I mean, how many bookstores are left? Twitter, where you can only do 160 characters. So we live in a world where people won't even go to where they can get the information. But again, we're talking about the surface stuff, but we're not talking about the why and the people who support it. The people who support the texting. Are we saying, hey, let's get this and let's get that, and where are the books? Mental health. We're not even talking about mental health. The stereotypes that go with people who have depression, people who need medication. And if we're talking about the Black community has said forever, you don't need those white people meds. You don't have anything with you. But yet we'll sign up for edibles. We'll sign up for recreational THC. We'll sign up for alcohol. We'll sign up for all that and bring that drama home. But we're not talking about that. We're not talking about how people don't know how to manage stress anymore. I heard a couple people say go to therapy, but therapy is some people they're told don't go to therapy. So if we're told not to go, and then we have these symptoms, just because we changed overnight doesn't mean all of a sudden this wife is going to stay. We live in a fast-paced world. We were talking about phones earlier. Didn't we just go to iPhone 12, 13, and 14 all within like a year or a year or two? I mean, we don't wait for anything. So why is someone going to wait for something they're happy about? And then 13 model came out and 14 model came out, and there's a billion people out there. Let's do an unpackage. Let's do a comparison. Why did they do this? Why did they do that? I really don't like this. Why I really don't. I mean, everything is critical. So we don't mind our business anymore. We're in everyone's business. Just a couple more of these. Mamas. We talk mamas being friends to their sons. So what do you think we're producing? Men who know how to have healthy relationships?
Son husbands.
Right. So if we have men like that getting into these marriages who don't really know how to have a wife, they know how to have a mama with sex. But she may not want to be mama all the time. She's tired.
With sex.
And then the rules have changed, laws, policies, parenting, impulsivity. I just mentioned that. Impulsivity. Everything's fast. We don't stay in the relationships anymore. And we can plead that we've changed. But then we might have to take that change to a different group. Point in case. Him, her, they. I know it's a totally different subject and area, but I grew up in grade school, junior high, high school, college, post-grad, doctorate program, and not a single soul ever told me the use of they was a pronoun. And now at 50 years old, I'm being forced, depending where you live, certain laws or rules at a job, that I have to use the pronoun they. So if you think about certain generations, they don't want to accept certain things. They don't want to accept certain things, but we are being forced to do these things. So how that relates to the question, there are certain institutions pushing and forcing narratives such as you can get more welfare money if you do this. You can get more that if you don't include him. You can get child support if you don't have this. You can get if you exclude him. And the men don't fight like they used to. The men don't fight. No one's a victim until they're a victim. But the men don't fight like they used to. So those are my points that come to me daily with the couple. So everything everyone said I agree with, but we didn't get to the causes of what those things are.
Man, thank you so much, Dr. Nakumbe, for being here. And thank you for that, brother. Let's do JT. We'll start with final thoughts, JT, and then we'll go to Mandrell, and then we'll go to Mr. Bennett. We're gonna save the power couple for last. The real precious.
Didn't we
and
do
Jack-
GT already?
I
Who's
did.
first?
I did. That's right. Mandrell, come on. Talk
Quit
to
being
him.
a hater.
Oh, and I want to say
Mandrell?
tonight. I don't know what theology school all you Negroes went to, but because y'all been preaching tonight, I just want to put that out there. It started with the real precious. I can't, she just, I can't come behind none of you, and so I'm just not going to do it. I'm just going to let y'all rock out. Then Jasmine came with her paper talking about chapter 1. She came with her paper. Then Dr. Nakume put his hands together. So let me tell you this, and I mean, James came in leaning back. He said, "Look at my wine. I got to do it tonight." And Lady Di said, "Go ahead, Sugarfoot." I'm just reading the lips. So and Mr. Bennett, he said so humble. So I'm just thankful for you all tonight. Mandrell, you can go ahead and stir the gumbo, brother. We about to get up out of here. Mandrell, then we'll go around the room.
Hater.
So the question was, what do you do if you're doing the work? If a problem's brought to you, you're doing the work.
Yeah.
She leaves anyway.
Mm-hmm.
That was something very similar before. But yeah, very similar. Damn near the exact same scenario. But it's a situation where if you've listened to her, you put forth the work, and that person sees exponential progress, exponential change over months, then that person tells you the severity of the situation. Hey, yeah, I get it. You're doing work and everything, but here's how severe this is. Okay, then you double down on the work, double it up. You know what I'm saying? So you can get this problem fixed. That person still leaves. I said it before tonight. There's nothing you could have done, because that's beyond reason. That's beyond reason. If you see the results of this person doing the work and making changes, you see that change, and it's not just for 2 weeks. It's been over the course of months, to the point where people are saying, "Hey, something different about you. You're doing, man. You're damn near a different person." If everyone sees it, but that person doesn't, you have to start asking yourself a lot of questions. One of them is, did that person ever really love you? Because how do you throw that out the window? You got, like the doctor said, most men don't fight anymore. Most don't. But if you got a guy who you bring a problem to him, he puts forth his best effort and is fruitful. How is that not good enough? If that's not good enough, then the problem ain't him. That, what I'm saying, the other person has to ask themselves some questions too. But when it comes to that, I mean, why would you leave that? There's so few guys who are willing to. Guys that talk a lot of good game. There's guys out there who know exactly what to say, how to say it, but don't care. And that's how women fall into traps. Guys who know what to say. Those are usually the players and the players and all that. They got a good mouthpiece, but they don't really care. Then you got guys who don't really know what to say, but they give you their heart, soul, mind, and body. Everything they got. They care. They give a damn. So you have to ask yourself, what's more important to you? Because communication can be worked on. Lack of communication can be built, cultivated between the two of you. And on that journey, you will develop a bond that is incomprehensible, because you're building that together. You'll understand him. He'll understand you in a way that no one else on the planet can. And it's easy to say when you don't have any examples of it. You know what I'm saying? But like in that situation, I'm having a hard time figuring out, what are you going to do? You know what I'm saying? Because that's a tough one. Why would you? I mean, it's hard. Like I said, it's hard to find guys who are willing to put in work, especially like that. And then, because most guys are going to say, I'll do the work. And it's only some temporary fix. You know what I'm saying? Something that lasts a week or two. Then they're back to their old habits. But if it's a habit that he's changing, understand habits take a while to change. Sometimes it might take a day or two. Sometimes it depends on how long you've had that habit. Sometimes it might take 3 months. But if you see changes, you gotta give the guy the benefit of the doubt. Or fellas, the woman. Because there are men who are fed up with women stuff too. Women, there's women out here that'll give fellas hell. But if you bring that attention to your woman and you see her making the changes, you see her progressing consistently, you gotta give the woman the benefit of the doubt. Otherwise, what are you doing? If this is in the context of if you're working towards marriage with one another, or if you're in a marriage, why would you leave a marriage if that woman is making the changes to make things better for you, fellas? Why would you hold that against her? Same thing with ladies. You see the guy doing the work. It's incredibly foolish to let that go, because it's incredibly rare to find that amongst humanity. And you can't keep asking God for blessings when he's already blessed you with a wife or a husband. But you turned it down and you said no. I said this in another broadcast. It is incredible to me how many times we pray to God and ask for blessings, this and that, and he'll give you exactly what you're looking for. But it just needs work, just like everything else in life, even a car, airplanes, food. You want it to taste right? You got to season it with something. You got to cook it a certain way. You want shoes? Those are manufactured. You have to make a mold of the shoe. You have to get the materials to make the mold. Same thing with clothes. Everything takes work. Everything takes adjusting. Everything takes adaptability. Dusto hit the nail on the head. People are not taught how to adapt. People are not taught how to get along with one another. They're not taught how to be in relationships. Everyone on this panel has said something to this effect tonight. You have to give it an honest try if marriage is what you want. Otherwise, you're going to keep making that same decision in every relationship you're in. It's got to end. You got to end the sucker sometime. So I'm going to land my plane there unless anyone has pushback.
Well, I have pushback, but I want to challenge, because based on what I was talking about when people come to see me, that if what you just said, I've had people challenge me with, I don't have to stay. And then there's a difference between a relationship and marriage, because I heard you mentioning both, but I think I would hope that is not a different set of standards, but there are. You know, some people say that they're single, even though they have a partner or a girlfriend or boyfriend.
Even if they're engaged, they say, "Hey, right. I'm single," because they're meaning in the context of marriage. I get you. And the whole thing about them saying
is different for a marriage than it is for a relationship. And as I said, people don't, what we consider to be abusive, you know that expression, the eye of the beholder.
Yeah.
I can call you Bubbles and it might not bother you, but someone else might be like, don't call him Bubbles, blah, blah, blah. Right. So if the eye of the beholder feels like it's too torturous. The Real Precious, I think I was on one of your shows one time, and I forgot what it was, but we were talking and you said, people know when I'm done, or something like that. Or I can't remember, but it was like, when I'm done with it, people know. And then I think it was followed up with this quote, I don't know about heart, but men are usually gone, like mentally, out of the relationship before they physically leave. And you guys know what I'm talking about? You ever heard people say that they're like the woman is gone, like emotionally.
Yeah, she's checked out.
Right. So I challenge, not you, but I challenge for anyone in that situation to look at, it felt like it was just last week that you didn't give me a chance, but how far back was it really that you were already checked out?
Right. And my response to that is, that comes down to what Dusto and I have been saying. Communication. If you're checking out, again, and in the context of this question was, if the guy's been putting in the work since you brought it to him, since she brought it to him, he's been putting in work and he's been getting better, making improvements, and then the woman still leaves. And I agree, she doesn't have to stay there. It's her choice to leave. She can choose, but the question is, if you have that on your hands, why the hell would you? It doesn't make any sense. And I think in this conversation, what Black Man is trying to do is get an understanding as to why, if you have a person who's doing that, why would you leave? Like, because he's now giving you that you can't use that as a reason anymore. He's fixing that. That is being fixed in real time in your face. So what else is it? You know what I'm saying? So I think that was the context of the question, and the topic tonight was in that context. Am I right, Black Man, or am I off?
Your battery a little low. So let me tell you this. So what I'm saying is, I'm just kidding with you. But what I'm saying is that when people say I'm not, Mandrell, most of this show is primarily about things I have experienced these very things. When someone says I'm not happy, I'm just not happy anymore. I just, and then most men turn to Tyrese. What more do you want from me, right? Because most men do feel like they're doing something. You got to have that conversation, right? But I've been there years ago. I've been there. I've been to a point where, I'm just not happy anymore. And I'm like, girl, what more do you need? What more can I provide to you that you do not have? I don't know. It's just, I don't know. It's just something missing. What is it? I don't know. Right? So, then I was, I think I was a junior in Simp University then. Yeah. Yeah. Right before I dropped out. JT, don't you laugh too hard.
You had a 4.0?
I had a 4.0 in Simp University. And I was like, baby, please. Right? I turned to a temptation, right? But at the end of the day, she just was not happy. She didn't love herself. And I don't know who said that earlier. Somebody alluded to that. I think it was Real Precious that said that. Or Jasmine, one of y'all. Take credit, somebody. But, she just didn't love herself at the time. But guess what happened? She got out there, and I wish I could do a video of it. 3 months later, I think I'm ready to start over. Oh, hell no. Whoa, hold on a minute. I can't do nothing else with you. I'm sorry. Let me help you out. Let me help you back to your car. Because she come to the realization that she had what she needed and she just didn't love herself. And shout out to her. Hope everything you do with the new guy you're with that smokes crack every day, I hope everything works out. I just want to throw that out there. I mean,
gotcha. So my thing is I think like the context of the question then, is if the guys, like I said, if he's fixing the problem or problems plural, and that the person still leaves, it's like what the hell then? I mean, what was this all about?
The person, like Dr. Nkumbe just said, we're living in a time where people I'm going to paraphrase here. We're living in a time where people have zero tolerance. They don't want to tolerate. They feel like I don't have to tolerate anything from your ass. And if your ass, listen, I'm gonna tell you what you need to know. You fix it, but you fix it on your own time. I'm gone. Right? How
does that person not know that guy's been tolerating things from her, but he just hadn't brought it to her because?
But we're different.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
I just said that. We just talked about Lenny Williams. Right? What did Lenny Williams say? I love you no matter what you do. You don't hear a song of a woman saying, "I love you no matter what you do." There's cutoffs to this shit, right? They'll leave your ass in a heartbeat because they have options. Watch this. I didn't mean to go here tonight. This is another show. However, I'll take a moment. Women have options. Beautiful women, sexy women, women who are well-spoken and educated, they have options. And they don't have to tolerate you because they got 12 other dudes in their inbox.
Well, then, again, this is all based on their choice, right? So, I say that the two people have to be willing to build. You know what I'm saying? And if one person is building or trying to build, but the other person isn't, they just bail. I mean, then.
Mandrell, sometimes we talk about building. Let's keep it in contracting here. Sometimes two contractors get together and they come up with a blueprint on how the house is going to be built. One of the contractors starts to change the blueprint. The other contractor backs out. He don't want to build anymore.
That does happen.
Can I add a little something?
Hold on. Go ahead. Then we gotta get everybody else in. My bad. Me and Mandrell
I'm not gonna take long.
James and Lady Doc, y'all next.
I'm gonna just give a little bit about the three me. One, The first me was the one that got his heart broken. The second me was the one that recovered from the heartbreak. The third me was the one that got to put it all together, and I wanted to be married, right? Now, this is the thing. That heartbreak that I ended up incurring got me to being in a mode of being a player. You know what I'm saying? And this was about playing the game. And what happened was that once I started understanding how girls play games, I learned how to play games back. And what happened when I got older from that point was that I had to get out of that whole thing, because the real me actually wanted to cash in all my chips because I seen something different, and it had to been authentic. And I was trying to get to authenticity. Did I say that one right?
Yeah, you got
Authenticity.
it.
I was struggling to get to authenticity. Y'all get it.
Authenticity.
Y'all
I
know what I'm
got you,
talking
bro.
about.
Don't you
I was
worry
trying to
tonight.
get
I got
there
you.
to that
Don't you worry
word
tonight.
when I kept being on the journey of being played, right? So I kept reverting back to that player that I was, because I was really good at being that guy. Very good at being that guy. But it didn't do anything for me. It didn't bring, the best out of me. What brought the best out of me was family building, being able to do that. But in order for me to do that, I got to give my all. I got to cash in all my chips.
Mm-hmm.
When I don't cash in all my chips, I get half for whatever it is I put in. That's where we fuck up at as men, is because we can't find that middle ground. It's an all or nothing for us.
Yeah.
This is why we get frustrated. This is why you hear young men right now, 35 and below, saying, I ain't trying to get married. Fuck that. They ain't doing it because they said they don't see the value in marriage. They see the value in it, but women don't see the value in it. So the man is like, well, shit, if all you want is for me to bust you out, that's all I'm going to do. If you're not giving me, ain't it funny that women will sit back, and we in a space right now where women will sit back and they will get fellatio, but they won't kiss a man. They won't hold his hand. This is where we at right now. So guess what? As men, guess what we are? We're like, damn, we lost. We lost now, right? And I'm not me.
Word.
But the younger
that's
guy.
going on. That's going on out here.
What? That's what it is right
That
now.
is absolutely what's going on right now.
That's absolutely what's
Kissing
going on.
What, people don't kiss anymore? What is it? What's that?
Well, that's
about?
the code. Well, even with the escorts and ladies, that's the thing. They'll do everything, but they ain't.
Well, that's
kissing
different, man. You don't know
I'm
what's
just
in
saying,
her
but
mouth.
it's now in the dating culture as well. Because again, that's too intimate. Kissing in the lips, that's very intimate.
Well, that's the point if you're dating
Can I
somebody
say
to be
something
But I'm
intimate.
saying,
before we
we're not
get
being
into
intimate like that.
before we get into and derailing it? Can I just say something before we?
Yeah, let me and I'm gonna go to this part right here, Doc, and I'm gonna go ahead and let you in. But what I found out is that it's up to us to set the narrative back, but we gotta grab a hold to the goddamn bride again. We don't, and a lot of people don't know what a bride is, but a bride is what steers the
Steering a
horse.
horse.
Yes. So we have to hold back. We have to grab that back on. We got to take it up out of the women's hands again and put it into our own hands. And a lot of that shit comes back to being able to be a man that is assertive. And I land.
All right, let the doctor respond in, James, and Lady Di, y'all next.
This is why we have to be careful. When I say I work with offenders, half of my offenders are offenders because the law says when she says no, I'm done, stop, leave me alone. I've suffered trauma before, so everything is sensitive to me. They will catch a case because half our society says go for what you want. The other half says leave it alone. Again, we have the women who say, I've been traumatized before. I have trauma, 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 I have trauma. So now all the sensitivity, you can't add the pressure like you used to, or you get ghosted because they feel some kind of way. So we live in a society where the rules have changed. The rules have changed. Do we know who we are dating? I say in the vetting process, we should be asking, hey, how do you fight? Why would you leave a situation? What's the worst thing I can do in the relationship? What's your boundaries? I don't know if people even talk about that anymore. What are your boundaries? Sounds too corny in the beginning, but it helps to maintain the relationship. Know who you are dating. If they have those type of issues, you should know up front how long the relationship might last. Do we talk about our? That's one of the challenging questions. When do I tell someone I have mental illness? When do I tell someone I have herpes? When do I tell someone that those are like tough questions. When do we have conversations? And if you don't, and then they clash, and lastly, people need to learn how to grieve. At what point do you learn how to let go? And if this is not your first relationship in this situation, if this is a person's not their first time's an incident. Second time's a coincidence. Third time's a pattern. Once we get to the pattern stage that we can't keep a relationship, or people are leaving, or whatever won't fight for us or won't stay with us, we have some work to do.
Yeah, but if the,
All right.
if the,
Hold
if
on,
the
hold on.
answer to this question, if the guy's doing the work, he's fighting.
He could do the work he wants to. No one owes him anything.
Right, true enough.
In the
But the
marriage, we
question
have a
is,
different set of rules.
right? But the
Marriage.
question is, why would she leave? Like even in a marriage too, like not just relationship, but in a marriage as well. Like because you do have women and men who do this. So, but in
Well,
this
yeah, that I think is a
conversation,
different set of rules.
but in this conversation, it's about the ladies, I guess. So I mean,
Yeah,
it's like
hold
because
on,
the
hold
ladies
on,
are the
guys.
ones leaving.
So let me get Lady James and Lady Di in here, and we'll continue that conversation after the show. Lady Di and James, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, so I just kind of like to top it off. I think we as a community, what we need to first start doing is looking more at ourselves before we continue to point the finger at each other, because I think that's what's got us in this situation now. And we just instead of, all right, let me go ahead and fix myself, let me go ahead and fix the things I'm doing right now, what I'm doing wrong. We continue just to, oh, well, you're doing this wrong. Then she say, yeah, you doing this wrong. Then you say, well, you doing this wrong. And then we continue to keep on the cycle. So I think for us to change our ways, we have to be the change that we want to see. So we first change ourselves, and then eventually they ain't got nothing to complain about. And then now they're gonna be like, well, shoot, I need to fix myself, or they're gonna say something stupid like you too good for me, or they're gonna just have to move on. You have to move on and find somebody that's gonna be more productive and try to build with you and try to be better. So I think with these conversations, I think we need to kind of start looking more at ourselves, be the change we want to be, and stop making it seem like relationships is like going to be the death of you. Like we always think about like the worst out of worst set of situations, rather than saying, hey, people going to make mistakes. It's okay. I even have to tell my wife, hey, stop being so hard on yourself, because she be trying to be the perfect wife. And I'm like, baby, it's okay. You messed up one time. It's what I mean, and she could have been like, no, I should know better. I should have did better. But what I mean, sometimes you gotta get that grace, like she give me grace, right? So we have to be more open with each other, and things will be a lot better. So
see, don't ask him no personal questions. He gonna start talking and just be
Well,
spilling
James,
all of it out.
Come on,
That's why I
James.
want
I
him on-
appreciate your
Come on,
boy.
James.
Come on, man.
That's
why
the
I want
real.
him
That's
by
the
my
real.
side.
That's
Yes,
the real.
bro.
Right. Come on, James.
It's balance. So I just I decided okay, we're gonna have James on because it brings balance. Because I will be transparent, but I don't say everything. That's for personal stuff on the outside. But see, he would tell it all.
she be hitting my leg out, but like, hey, all right, that's enough. Be like, I tell it all. Like she be like, all right.
But after this conversation, for the doctor here, right? I like that he brings in more of the why. And a lot of us, we don't, because we're not in that field. I'm not in that field of, the trauma and all of that. So I like that aspect of it, since a lot of us went through trauma. So to understand the why, to put your life into a healthy perspective, I should say. I think we need to talk to more people like him, just to get a better understanding and to clarify what's actually going on so we can proceed. Now, there are many wise people out. It's just that we have to want to talk to them, So we got doctor on here that's spreading, a lot of knowledge, but then your neighbor might have the same knowledge. You don't have to be on these platforms to see it. You just got to notice it and be like, wow, I never heard that before, and then that's the way that anybody can change. So I just like that type of perspective of understanding the why. So I appreciate, you bringing in that type of insight on these platforms. And eventually I want you to come on our show too. When I just got to set it up, figure out what we're talking about. But yes, for sure.
And I was gonna say too, great job. I like with the young women come on the panel and give a lot of knowledge and great. Good job, Jasmine, today. Too.
Oh yeah, for sure. With the questions, I love questions.
All right, so
Jasmine, how old are you?
Who?
Jasmine.
34. 30. I had to unmute.
JT, you're not supposed to ask a woman her age.
Yes, I am. I'm supposed to ask everybody their age.
All right,
she has great wisdom. That's why I was saying, like, just to hear her speak, I can hear a lot of wisdom coming out of her. So,
see, we already know the pressure. We already know
pressure. Hey, and don't let her hit that damn cup. Go get it, Jazz. I'm gonna need to hear the real, the real Precious. What you got for us, sweetheart? What's your thoughts for the show tonight?
I just I wanted to answer the question,
yes, sure,
and just end it with that. But I think there's a couple of reasons why women just leave. Women don't have I like what James and Lady Di were saying about, you don't have to be the perfect wife. I'm going to give you that grace. I'm going to be there for you. I'm going to communicate with you. That's when you have a free fall. I don't remember back in the day, like in gym, where they used to have this free fall activity, and you really didn't trust someone to catch you. Because now you're thinking like, oh, I'm heavy. What if they don't have their arms out? What if you're thinking all of these things instead of just being caught. And I think, when women just want to leave, to me, it's like, could you really, trust yourself to just fall into your marriage? And I think that a lot of women leave because they don't want to make the changes. I think some of the things that men say to women is a gut punch to them, and it's a needed one. I'm not saying that it ain't needed, and it's not a physical one, but sometimes those words hurt women so much so it goes to like a physical pain hearing the words. And so then they'll get stressed, and then they'll get, stress causes sickness. And so instead of going through that, now you can do other things. I mean, you can, you don't have to be stressed about what he said. You can actually work on what he said, day by day. But instead of getting in, that type of gym, you fall into like a depression, like, oh, he don't love me, or, I'm not the perfect wife, or, I can't do no right. I can't do anything right. And instead of fixing or saying, what do I need to do to become better? What book do I need to read? What person do I need to speak to? Who do I need to, seek after in order to help me with this? The easier thing is to say, I'm good. I'm better off by myself. And when you get into a relationship, it's reflective. That person is going to, mirror back some of a lot of the things that is going on with you, because it either was going on with them, they've been through it, they can help you through it. But instead of finding that teammate, a lot of people don't want to, be criticized. I remember being, playing basketball, being in a marching band. I remember being in a marching band and wanting to quit. And my parents was like, no, you're not quitting. You're not doing it. You need people that's going to say no, like there is no quitting. If you need help, I'll be here. But this is for the greater good, end up winning states and all states in the marching band. Got a jacket from it. But I wanted to quit. If I would have quit, I would have never got it. I would never had that experience, that joy. That can't nobody take away from me because I put in the work. Somebody missed up. We got to do the whole show all over again, in the hot, in the cold, with uniforms on. So it's that endurance. And if you don't trust yourself enough to make those changes, then you feel like you're better off alone. And I think more people need to trust themselves more and get to know themselves more, instead of rushing into certain things. Get to know yourself, know what you can handle, know what you can't handle, be honest with the person that you're with. Don't wait for, don't give the silent treatment. No, communicate. I don't know what's going on with me right now. I don't want that to affect you, but I want to let you know if there's anything you can do to help. I'm open to it, but be honest about that instead of walking around like you have an attitude all day.
Thank you so much, Jasmine.
Me.
And thank you, man. Thank you for being here, brother. I'm gonna get your thoughts on this subject in a minute. I'm not happy anymore. The dumbest reason to divorce. So I'll be with you in just a second. Jasmine, talk to us, sweetheart.
That was a good response, the real Precious. I know for a long time, I'm listening to what you said. For a long time, I was in that situation where I felt like I couldn't trust the people around me because I couldn't trust myself, but I know I had to put in that work. And the reason why I knew I had to put in that work because I was still suffering from some form of trauma. But I don't want to dig into that. I kind of want to answer the question for Mandrell when the question was, if he's putting in all of that work, then why isn't I good enough? I feel like it's only one reason why people do what they do is because they want to. Nobody put a gun to their head. They do it because they want to. And also, you putting in all of that work and she's still not being receptive, that's because there wasn't really a woman to begin with. The relationship was probably more than likely forced, or it was one-sided. And in that situation, it don't matter what you do. You can be flipping through hoops, getting on one leg, bending over backwards. It's still not going to be enough. Doing a Tootsie Roll, that's still not going to be enough for that woman. I've made up this thing and I call it the hokey pokey syndrome. And with the hokey pokey syndrome, that's when people be in these relationships where they got their 1 foot in and they 1 foot out. And that's a lot of relationships like that. When you see people walking away from relationships, and I'm not saying all relationships, but a lot of relationships, you have people that's half in and half out. That person was never in. She was never fully in to begin with. And I know a lot of times what people, I'm tweaking a little bit. I know a lot of times in the beginning of relationships, what people tend to do is make they try to do a permanent solution they try to make a permanent problem to a temporary solution, something like that. Right. But during a temporary time, they trying to fix something that's so permanent during a short period of time, if that makes any sense. But long story short, it pretty much goes back to what I was saying earlier, that when men need to stop trying to fix women, and women need to be held accountable and put that work in to fix themselves. If you suffer from some form of trauma where you feel like you can't trust the person in your life to leave, that has nothing to do with the man. That has a lot to do with yourself. And I say that because a lot of times women me even being a woman, we're manipulative. Women are manipulative, and if we can use the form of manipulation to get what we want out of a situation, knowing that we have some form of control over somebody, we will do that. It doesn't matter if you're married, if you're single, if you out here being a thought. That's just that women are manipulative. She will trick you, make you feel like you're the problem, when all along the issue is really embedded in her. It has nothing to do with you. You're not the problem. She's not happy within herself. So that's a self problem with her. That has nothing to do with you. So as men, I feel like y'all, especially when you dating, or I guess in the beginning of the dating stage, y'all got to have patience. Y'all got to be assertive. Y'all got to set these healthy boundaries to protect yourself when it comes to dealing with women. And then I know the second question was, why don't women want to build? I got 4 answers for that: because women are lazy, impatient, selfish, and they lack accountability. That's all I got to say.
Listen, I'm gonna say this. I did not pay her to say that. I did not pay her to come on and say that.
I didn't either. I got a response.
Listen, whatever she said on her own fluid. Listen.
Hold on. But say it again. Say it again. Lazy what?
Lazy what? Come on now. Listen, members of the congregation. Go ahead, Sugarfoot.
Lazy, impatient, selfish, lack accountability.
Okay, my only response to that is that, I mean, when you said it wasn't good enough, you're spot on. Like, that's how, after the experience, that's how I felt. Not good enough. And I was like, well, damn. You know what I'm saying? I mean, like, that is a fucked up feeling to have. Like, it really is. Like,
but no one should make you feel good enough. No one should have the power to not make you feel good enough.
You know? That's true. Yeah. I mean, because again, I know me. I'm a person who I spent a lot of time getting to know me. Like, if anything, go to war. Fight no war. You'll know exactly who you are coming out of that. If you survive, you will know yourself. So and I've seen a lot of that, and I've spent a lot of
That's
time
the
in therapy. And
that's the
you know,
manipulation. That's the
yeah. And the thing
manipulation
is,
piece. I have
but at the
control
same,
over you. She made you feel less than because she felt less than. She probably didn't even feel like she was deserving of what it is that you was giving her because she couldn't receive it. So that really wasn't a you problem. That was a problem within herself.
yeah, because like I
So
said,
look at that as a
everyone,
blessing.
because like I said, everyone could see the results of the work being done except her, the only person on the planet who just couldn't see it or just refused to. It was confusing to me. But I mean, you know, again, in that situation, fellas, there's nothing you can do. And women, you find yourself in a situation with a man, there was nothing you could do. Because I hear this a lot from women more so than men. You know what I'm saying? Like women, like they'll go all into a relationship, and this guy just still kind of like dismisses it and all that stuff. You know what I'm
Can I
saying?
tell you why?
I'm like, well, ladies, there was nothing you could do if you were doing all of that. My sister was in a relationship like that. I said, and she told me what happened. I was like, baby girl, listen to me. That was entirely his fault.
Can I tell you why?
Entirely his fault. Like you had nothing. I had to tell her, you had nothing to do with that. There was nothing you could have done. That was all on him. You know what I'm saying? So
Can I tell you why you hear mainly from women and not men? That's because women, we are taught to express our emotions. Men, y'all are taught not to. Y'all taught that y'all feelings don't matter. And that whatever you say or whatever you express, it makes you come off as weak because you guys are y'all never have that safe space to express yourself. So that's why you hear it mainly from women and not men.
and also
Women
to this
complain all
day,
the time because like I said,
you're right.
attention is currency. So yeah.
And like I said, you're right.
That's what I was
Because
saying earlier about marriages. The seniors, I mean, the elderly, they didn't talk. The men. That's why I was asking you earlier, Mandra. I'm like, how can you give some nuggets of you and Scam about how can people talk like the men? Because we're taught not to talk,
right. And
to
like
do.
to this day, she doesn't know how I feel about that whole experience. To this day, I never told her. And it's because like I looked at it like this. Okay, whatever happened in this situation, I either said something, did something, or didn't do something, or didn't say something to trigger this event. And since it's my fault as had a relationship, I don't get to have sore feelings about it. So I got to shut my mouth up and eat it. And I did. All of it.
I'm going to ask the doctor a question.
Again, after that, we'll get Thinking Man right after your question, Mr. Ben, and your answer,
Right.
Doctor.
Yeah. This idea about men and women talking. Historically, have we ever been in a space where men and women talked to that degree?
No.
I mean, men generally talk with men. Like, you know, even in the Bible, it's like, you know, the man is honored, you know, at the gate. Like he's talking to men. Women had groups. But the thing was, it's like the women, since everybody was married or everyone was kind of swimming in the same lane, you didn't have that attitude, that talking point that says, oh, you need to leave him. No, it's like everybody was married, so everybody was kind of talking about. You talk about the kids, you talk about the household, or how you're doing things, or what's in that recipe. What do you put in your chili or whatever. So this idea of men and women having this serious dialogue and talking about everything, it's in a lot of ways it feels like it's a new concept. So I don't think we're going back to anything. We're still trying to carve out a space where men and women really talk, because I think historically we never talked. Guys, you went after work, you went to the pub, you talked to the guys, or you know, women got together in their spaces. But now we're trying to bring men and women together, and I think this is a relatively new space. So for all this talk about communication, and this is the point that I wanted to make earlier, was that all the communication in the world is no ingredient unless, you know, there's a willingness. You got to know what you're building. I mean, communication is like a tool, but you got to know what you're building, and you have to have the desire to build it. So, but I hear all the time in these spaces talk about communicate. But if someone is tuned out, if someone doesn't want to listen, if they don't want to stay around in order to do that building or rebuilding, if something was torn down, then all that communication in the world is gonna do anything. So I think sometimes we put oftentimes too much emphasis on communication, where people who don't want to go. It's just like a man in the gym. 99% of the people aren't going to be doing what Trey is doing right now. I mean, that's
That
just
should
fact.
be.
So unless you have the desire, you can. It doesn't matter. He's using the stair climber. He can use the treadmill. He can use the weights. Whatever he wants to use, he's going to get results because he has a desire to do so. But if you don't want to go to the gym, I don't care how much the gym membership was or what you put into it. You're not going to get out of it what you want to get out of it. So that's my question, just from your experience. I think this communication thing between the sexes, I think this is a relatively new thing that we're, and that's where a lot of the problems are, because we've historically, just as a species, we haven't done it.
Correct. So
the love song.
There's different forms of communication. So historically, they didn't, and a lot of breakups were, didn't you know? Couldn't you tell? Didn't you see? There's a million jokes about men saying the wrong thing. I'm pregnant. Is it mine? We're taught that there are certain things we shouldn't say and keep our mouths closed. But as we are growing, if we look at, well, are you socially aware? Are you socially aware? Are you situationally aware? Are you in tune to what's going on in your relationship? And more women are saying, you couldn't tell I wasn't happy. You couldn't tell by the look on my face. The men are saying, you couldn't give me any last night. Okay, so then in the morning when she goes, good morning, kiss, he's what's wrong with you? You're asking that question. You can't tell. So it's not so much that we're expecting more communication like voice to voice, but people are asking for more awareness, which is also a form of communication, body language, nonverbal cues.
I think I'm gonna say this before I get thinking man in here. I truly think that men suffer from cis syndrome. SIS, right? Suffering in silence. I'm gonna tell you something. A lot of men go through their day-to-day working, coming home, helping with the kids, but on the inside, they're dead. And they won't even let you know it. Listen, it's so many men out here right now. Why do you think men are dying early? I used to be a salesman. When I was 19 years, I used to sell cars. And people used to come in, and the best customers were to sell were the women who stayed at home and their husbands worked, because you knew that who wore the pants. The woman did. And I can talk to him. He said, we can't afford that. But if that woman said it, he'll go in debt to please that wife. And you could, and I'm looking at the damn credit application. I say, damn, wait a minute. Both of y'all 42? This damn man like he's 70 years old. He looked at just drained and old and broken. I say, God damn, he look horrible. Right? A lot of men are dying inside. They ain't gonna speak up and say nothing. A lot of men are so quiet. They're suffering in silence so bad. And that's why men are just at a higher rate of just self-deletion and just all type of issues, mental illness. I mean, men are just suffering. They are. And I know women have been suffering for a long time. At least some women just speak up and say it. Men don't say nothing. They just walk till they die.
It's like I said, black man. I said nothing to this day. No clue how I felt about that situation. She never asked me, not once. And the way I looked at it, I was like, hey, I got to take responsibility. I held myself accountable. I said, so you got to shut up and eat it. Right. And that's exactly what I've done.
So
you know what I'm saying? So
yeah, and we'll finish that conversation in the back real quick. Yeah, go ahead, Doctor. I want to get thinking.
I see a few messages in the chat about nonverbal communication. What I'm talking about is, I'll give you an example. If I have a girlfriend that has her menstrual every month, and I consider her provider and caretaker or maintainer, should I wait until she's having it to say, oh, no, I need you to run to the store to get some pads? I know we're going to run out of milk X number of days or weeks, how many kids we have. Should I wait until she asks for me to go buy some milk? I know that she feels some kind of way when it gets close to her menstrual. Should I wait until we have an argument so I can say, you acting bitchy, you must be on your period? So there's certain awareness that I think every couple should have, and they can grow and learn that, learn those do's and don'ts and blah, 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 blah. But after a while, what I mean by nonverbal and awareness is understanding how your partner, your wife, husband operates, what do's and don'ts and what their buttons are. So that's a form of non-communication, but being aware of your partner.
Absolutely. Hey, we got Thinking Man in the house tonight, man. Thinking Man, what's going on, my brother? Long time no see. I haven't seen you since Moses threw the
Shout out
tablets
to
off the mountain.
Ken.
So I
Shout
just
out to
want to say,
Ken.
what's
What's up,
going
man?
on, man?
Where you been?
A great content creator, great fighter, great man, great father, man.
I
All that
wouldn't
good
say
stuff.
great fighter.
Yeah, man,
Yeah,
boy,
I-
hey, he'll whoop your ass for damn sure.
No,
But
he
anyway,
won't. No, he won't. That
I
remains
saw
to be
his.
seen.
Hey, listen, hold on. I saw his fights. I ain't never seen your fights, man, Drill. So I got to go in right now. I got to go with my guy. He's a great fighter. I seen him on camera.
Whatever.
Well, thinking, man, what's going on, man? How you doing, bro?
Hey man, hit dog gonna holler, man. You see, man, Drill hating out the
I
gate.
know. I ain't even
said a
saying
word,
that. You know
man.
what I'm saying?
Nah, I think everybody making good points. I think kind of Doc, what you hitting on is unspoken expectations. I think we have a lot of issues as it relates to being able to communicate our needs and stuff. A lot of people weren't taught that. You know, a lot of people, lack communication skills. You know what I mean? So I just think it's important to be able to communicate with each other. But there are some situations you can't rectify. So, a woman leaving a situation or a man leaving a situation, in some cases, there's nothing you can do about that. It just wasn't right. And then sometimes you outgrow people. So you might have one person that goes to therapy in a relationship, the other doesn't see the value in healthy conflict resolution, all of those different types of things. So, people can grow apart in that way. You mature differently. I mean, the question can be posed, if you go to therapy, right, and you better yourself, should you stay in that situation with somebody who doesn't see the value in it and it's still communicating in an unhealthy way? Now you're just exposing yourself to a situation that's toxic. And that can be man or woman. So I don't think it's a one-size-fits-all situation where, you married and you shouldn't walk away. It's some situations where you should, whether you married or not. That's it.
Man, appreciate you, bro. Appreciate you. All right, man. Listen, guys, I appreciate each and every one of you guys for coming in tonight. Jasmine, thank you so much. Jasmine, if you could stay back, well, all y'all can stay back afterwards. I'm gonna tell y'all something. But Jasmine, the real precious, Mr. Bennett, always been rocking with me. I mean, for 8-9 months. Mr. Bennett has been here. I appreciate him. Mandrell been rocking with me for a while. My boy GT. All right, Dr. Nakumbe just became a part of the family over here. Trey's a part of the family over here. Lady Di and my brother James. I'm sorry, not brother James. You have elevated yourself tonight with your transparency. So we're going to call you King James. So thank you for being here tonight, King James. We appreciate you so much, my boy. Yes, come on, King James. And because we got the King James version tonight. Lady Di was just helping him out. She was a helpmate tonight. Don't pinch his leg no more. Let him speak his mind. So again, man, I just want to say thank you to everybody, man. JT, Dr. Nakumbe, Mandrell, James, and Lady Di. Trey, thank you, man. Mr. Bennett, the real precious, and Jasmine says it all. You guys are amazing. Before we leave, the last thing I want to hear from everybody is how we can promote you. For the people who are watching, because you guys do this. I know the real precious does this. Jasmine has been dropping. She's been dropping enough dimes to put a down payment on a yacht. So thank you so much. So we're going to get to what you're doing, Mr. Bennett, with all of you guys. So we'll start with Jasmine. Jasmine, go ahead and tell us how we can find you and what you do, because this girl got her own skincare line. She got her own spa. So just talk to these people about that. Let's go.
Hey everybody, I'm Jasmine on YouTube. Y'all can find me at Jasmine Says It All. On my channel, I talk about trauma, healing, and having a healthy relationship with yourself. Y'all can also find me on Instagram and TikTok under the Skincare Boo _. I do have an all-natural skincare line. I'm a licensed esthetician, and I do have a Black-owned spa where I specialize in hyperpigmentation, acne, and eczema.
Ooh, she said, if your face messed up, she got something in the cup. Come on. All right, Real Precious, talk to us.
I'm on YouTube as The Real Precious. We talk about relationships as well as the foster care and adoption sector of the world. You can find me on YouTube. I'm on live Monday, Wednesday, and Sunday. Sunday is when we actually talk about adoption and foster care. Monday nights, we have a men's panel where Black Men Unfiltered actually kicked that off. I did a remix of one of his videos. It got over 1 million views. And so that's how we got connected. And so the men come on Monday and give their perspectives, and it's a time for understanding. And then Wednesday we do ladies' night. And you can also go to my website at therealprecious.com. A lot of things that I'm going to be doing is going to be updated on there, as well as a foster care adoption coaching support group that I just started. So definitely check me out on there to know when I'm doing certain things and when certain things are going to be about.
All right. The real precious ladies and gentlemen, listen, don't get it twisted. Okay. The real precious be over there dropping some dimes. And I'm gonna tell you something about the real precious. She's a quiet, I got a nickname for her. We're gonna start calling her the quiet storm, because the real precious will start talking. And if you piss her off, she'll lean back in the chair like this first. And then she'll come back up to the mic. Watch out. She's coming. So thank you, Real Precious, for being here tonight. Mr. Bennett, listen, thank you for being here, man. I know it's your anniversary week, man. So shout out to you and the wife. Tell us what you did, man. And because Mr. Bennett is always rocking with me on Tuesdays. He come in on the barbershop, which is normally tonight, but I want to have a mixture tonight. I want to have the salon in here tonight too. But Mr. Bennett, talk to us, man. Talk to us about you have something that you do as far as for the age group that you're in. So go ahead and talk to us about it.
Well, again, I'm just a Gen X, but I'm all about promoting fitness and lifestyle. So you find me on IG, Paul T. Bennett on IG. Also have a YouTube page, Dungeon Fitness 1969, where I do product reviews, exercise form and whatnot. So I do that. But yeah, but more times than not, you'll find me here on Tuesdays and Fridays, or anytime the black man needs me for something. Sometimes I get on the sports channel as well. But yeah, just promoting health, fitness, and lifestyle for guys over 50. Take care of yourselves, and get those prostate exams, get all that stuff you need to be taking care of yourself. Don't let pride get in the way of your health, because health is wealth at the end of the day. And you're not going to get to these long marriages like mine if you're not here to enjoy it. So just that's it. But again, enjoy the panel, enjoy this environment, this culture that you're building over here, black man. And again, it's been a blessing to me. And like I said, I learn every time I'm in here. So glad to be a part of it.
All right, now, guys, what you didn't know about Mr. Bennett, I want to put that out there. I know he didn't want me to say it, but you got to promote your brothers. Mr. Bennett is he retired, but Mr. Bennett used to be a stripper. Wait a minute, give me a second. His stripper name was Baby All Peanut Butter. And so if you guys need if you need him to come out of retirement, Mr. Bennett will come out of retirement and take care of all your needs, ladies. I don't know if his wife is going to let him out now, because he's a private dancer. He's dancing for money. Do anything you want him to do, Tina Turner. Right. All right. Right. So absolutely. So now we want to get JT in here. JT, can you go ahead and tell us about your channel, man, and what you got going on, my brother?
Peanut butter. Really?
Baby oil peanut butter.
Baby oil peanut butter.
Go ahead, man. We cry like this all the time, y'all. Go ahead, my brother.
Yeah, you can find me at What We Know Podcast. Absolutely. You see it back there. WWKP or K Podcast. I'm gonna be doing a live tomorrow. I don't know what I'm gonna be talking about. I don't care right now. I will care tomorrow. I mean, that's what we do sometimes.
Whoa. We do know what we're talking about tomorrow. Mississippi. Remember?
We're talking about the Mississippi.
Yeah.
Khadijah Brown?
Khadijah Brown, exactly.
Yeah. Matter of fact, I got the you know what? I do. I got the video.
Whatever you need, just call me. Yeah, just let me know.
I got the video queued. I'm not gonna play the whole thing because it's sad.
It gets graphic. Yeah.
Yeah, but we got a lot to talk about from that. I'm not even going to promote the other ones until I really get some videos on those other channels. But I definitely want to promote love. I'm in love, goddammit.
I know that's right, boy. Come on, you better talk. Listen, JT, I'm surprised she didn't bring their plate tonight. Is she over there in that corner waiting on you right now?
She had got me. We went to Culver's. She got me some shrimp.
Okay. See, so you got that shaking sheep face right now. I see what's been happening.
All week. It's definitely. I mean, it's a process that we're doing, and it's more than just us talking about just being in love and all that stuff. I actually want this to work, so bad where I'm willing to put the work in. So, Doc, we're gonna be talking to you also, brother. Your work, you're gonna put your ass to work. We definitely put you in these spaces right here.
Yeah, he think he lost his hair. His beard gonna be gone next, goddamn it. We working and we gonna work it as a death. All right, man. So thank you so much, JT, for being here tonight, man.
Yes, sir.
So James and I'm gonna save y'all for last because I know James gonna preach a sermon and I need to hear. Dr. Nakumbe, tell us what your thoughts are, and then we're gonna move swiftly over to the James and Lady Di.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Church of God in Christ.
I'll be quick. I'll be quick. I'm at Dr. Nakumbi, drnakumbi.com. Primarily, what I do is I work with all types of relationships, including the one with yourself, to make sense of the problem. I'll help you just make sense of it and then grow forward. That's my only real goal, is to help make sense of it, grow forward. You can find me on Facebook. Let's Get At It. It's actually let's get at it.com, but it goes right to the Facebook. Let's LETS get GET at ATIT.com. Let's get at it. Tonight's show, thank you for listening. I appreciate that you allow the space for me to bring just one other perspective. Psychology is not the one-all fix-all. There's several different perspectives. This is not the right one. It's just a different, and usually the one when people say, man, I'm going crazy. Am I going crazy? Help me understand what's going on so they can deal with the social part of it. I'm here on the Black Man's Unfiltered Network on Thursdays with Coach K, where we talk about relationships, mental health, and social issues. Thursday, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. Thank you.
All right, man. Thank you for that. So, Drell, talk to us, man, and tell us about your show as well. Tell us about your show on Wednesdays.
And Wednesday nights at 8:30 p.m. Central, 9:30 p.m. Eastern. My show is called Unapologetic with Mandrell and Shushu. Shushu is my younger sister and my co-host. And we talk about various topics. This week is going to be on traditions. Did they work? That's what this coming week is going to be about. Okay, you can take the billboard down. Thank you. Other than that, I got other things coming up, but you guys will hear about that probably next week. So come out and support your boy on Wednesday nights, and the other things I got coming up within the next week and a half. I'll tell you about that next week. Please support if you can. It's not going to be cheap, but everyone needs to work out. Everyone needs a nutrition plan. But good topic tonight. You know what I'm saying? I hope it didn't rub anybody the wrong way, but
And I want to share something with you. I'm gonna hold your ass accountable right now.
Okay.
So we've all talked. Everybody on this panel, everybody knows except the real Precious and everybody, James, all them, but they family now, so let's talk about it. So it's like, hey, I'm going to the gym. Let's get this weight off of me. You know what I'm saying? Man, I've been going all week. Listen, boy, it's like I hear my organs in my body talking to me. Mm-hmm. Like I was on the treadmill and my knee said, "Oh, nigga, you doing something new today?" I said, "No, hold on, give me a minute. You're right,
your body telling you that. Oh, you doing something new today? Really? Yeah, really? That's what we doing. We doing something new. Here's what you do about that. Here's the fix. I got the fix for that. Okay.
You listen.
No,
that's what you do.
No. Yeah. Here's the thing. What you do? You hear what Trey's saying?
Yeah.
Take everything he said and toss it out the window. What you do is you keep going.
Exactly.
But pace yourself, okay?
Yeah.
You don't want to go too hard, too fast. Like I said, start out 3 days a week. Your first week, next week, make it 5 days a week, and keep 5 days a week. You know what I'm saying? The first week is going to introduce your body to the new stimulus, because you don't want to burn out your central nervous system like I did last week. It shit burned out. My body's like, stop. I was like, what? Better. No, I was like, what? No, I got to keep. Better. My body's like, nope, no, you're not. You're not. My central nervous system just went.
You know better than
that. So I do want to get the last but not least, King James and Lady Di. Lady Di, ladies first, because I know King James gonna close us out in a miraculous way. So, Lady Di, you go first, and then don't pinch him when he talk either. Go ahead, Lady Di.
Hey, you guys, I'm Lady Di, and this is my husband, James. We are now starting to do everything or most things together on the platform. Amazing. Which was a plan. It was just a strategic plan. I wanted to come out here first and kind of put in all that, heavy work I was doing when I first started. If y'all know, I was on every pretty much everybody's channel. But now it's time to show kind of like positive marriage that me and James actually have. It's not fake, it's real. So I wanted to make sure that we actually show it and give more hope to the community that it's possible. We were never perfect. We never came from perfect environments. And we were able to kind of go and push through. But you can find us at The Lady Die, DTM. DTM stands for Dating to Marriage. We help with the dating to marriage needs, that transition. It's very important. And you could also type us on YouTube, the Dating to Marriage Support. And all right, James, your turn.
So no, it's I think one advice I would give to people, just try to be more transparent. I think you get more out of life being more transparent, put everything out in the forefront, and also being willing to be humble, be willing to, be helpful to others. And we have to make a complete change, and don't think you're too small to make that big change. So I think everybody on this panel, they gave great points. Even Trey working out right now is like, that's giving me motivation and saying, hey, I need to lose my gut. So, we should make sure every aspect of life, hey, make sure you look at it as positive, even if, you can't pay a bill, or say, hey, at least I had the money to pay the rest of the bill. So I say everybody, just be more positive when you're looking for relationships, when you're going through life, and you'll get a lot more better things out of life. You have more patience with your partner or whatever you call them, and you have a very productive life. So,
man, okay, well, hey, listen, guys, again, great show tonight, man. Great conversation. I'm glad that we're on a panel tonight where there was no I'm gonna do pig Latin tonight. There was no itches and O's and all that not great stuff, all that stuff that's horrible. People weren't talking over each other. We had a great conversation. And so I appreciate each and every one of you. Before we leave, I would like to get a little ratchet because we have a choir that we like, Mandriel's theme song. Dr. Nkumbe has paid several.
Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Do
Someone
it.
please
Do
pay
it.
him not to
Do
do it.
it. Do
Pay him
it.
not to do it. I hate it.
Lady Di, this is the choir.
I hate
Real
it.
Precious and Jasmine, this is the choir. We're going to allow them to take us down the road of history. Here we go.
My name is Rosa. Hey, I'm supposed to sit in the back, but I'm tired here, so I'm finna sit right closer. Yeah. Come get me up then. It's gonna take about 3, 4, 5 men. And I ain't finna repeat myself again. Fight me. Somebody get her. My name is Eve. Yeah. I didn't believe. Yeah. I trusted Satan, ate that apple, he deceived. Yeah. And yeah, I'm naked. I thought I was awakened. I'm the first to do it. Y'all my daughters, we related. Yeah. Trick on Big Harry. Yeah. Don't call me slave hoe. The hell? From the underground railroad, bust down mouth of dope. When I say run, you better go. In the dark, that Glocky glow.
It gets worse and worse every time you play it.
Every
single time you play it gets worse and worse, dude. It is the worst thing ever.
I just want to say, Dr. Nkumbe love that song. JT he know all the words. JT sing all the words. Look at Trey almost off the treadmill. I see Mr. Bennett in the back doing this with his hands up. And now Real Precious, I saw you. Real Precious, I almost let it out. Real Precious say. She said,
"We got that, yeah." That.
So a lot of people like the part when she said "the hell," yeah, man, that's just funny, man. But thank y'all, man. It's always good to see you guys smile and laugh, man.
Mr. Bennett,
and it's listen, it's late.
I know
it's late, Mandriel, and people are getting put to sleep. So I definitely got to listen. It's one more video I have, all right, and then we're gonna close this thing out, okay? Because you put me to sleep. Here we go.
Black David, it's Jesus. Wake up, Black David. Black David.
Oh Lord! Oh Lord! All right, that was kind of funny.
Right. So
that was kind of funny.
I said no, he wasn't drooling.
Yeah. We love Black David though.
Hey, man, it's my brother, man. I love Black David because Black David don't take anything personal. We laugh together, man. We be clowning. So Black David, man, thank you so much. Everything that he's running it back tonight. So I appreciate Black David so much, man. All right, so thank you guys for being here. I'm gonna let y'all in the back because I gotta ask y'all something, especially the ladies. And we'll see you guys on Tuesday for Talk Tuesday. We're gonna get it in again with another great conversation. Peace.